the start of the show. Right here. This bit.
Well.
That's the start.
Good.
That's the start where I hit the button. Hi. Sorry, I was just making some random freak out noises because I'm trying to... I've been a little sedentary and got a little slow start. I can start this by talking about a comedy of errors today.
Go for it.
All in my past couple of days. So, community gaming night and all that, it's very fun. It's very cool that we do that after the show. But I think I need to pay attention to that less, and people should be less counting on me to show up for it, because I have to finish editing the show, because I always have this problem of it takes me forever because I'm doing a bunch of other stuff, and I can't host anything for sure when I'm exporting the video. But so the video edit was, for some reason, like somewhere in there, in the prep to playing Among Us, which we can talk about later, I miscounted the number of seconds or something on the audio, and the video version ended up like 10 minutes shorter than it should have been. Now, luckily, God, we talk so much. We talk too much, Lucky. Because the time codes were unaffected. I double-checked. Robin actually messaged me and was like, well, the video version's missing the last bit. I don't know if the time codes will be correct. And I'm like, and I double-checked, and no, we start the outro at the 2 hour, 10-minute mark. It just takes us those extra 7 minutes to actually end the show. So it was fine, funnily enough. But yeah, so that's why Let's Talk FGO was a little late this week with the public version, because I had to recut and re-upload. Which, honestly, the Let's Talk FGO wasn't that long, per se. It was only like, once we compressed down the audio, it was only over 2 hours. So it's not a super long show, right?
Yeah.
So honestly, the export wasn't that long. It's just that for YouTube to fully upload it then was like another 30 or 40 minutes on top of that. So it took me a little bit. That's why probably I'm a little groggo, because I, rolled out of bed and got my setup and had to immediately fire that up and do the thing. But I took care of that. And while I'm saying that, this is a good time as any to plug Patreon, because the audio version was just uploaded in the audio format. It was perfectly fine, which is uploaded to our patrons who bring you the show, like Adam DeHarp, I Got Comics, Architect 10, Blackest OG, Carlos Qua, Jeremy Vasquez, Kylie Den, Legendary Boss Hunter, Rogue Robin, Shiny P, Some Guy Named Bob, Soda-san, 0424723, Video Gamer 75, and Zach Reed. And if you like what we do want to see more, consider supporting on Patreon. You get access to episodes early and lots of other goodies, and it really helps us out. So yeah, the audio version was fine for patrons, and the video version for public was fine, because I took my extra time to just fix it, because it wasn't that hard. It just took time. And it exists, and it's doing stuff. I was a little worried. It seemed like it was starting a little slow, but it's shot back up to, I think, number 2 of our recent video postings. Yeah, it's about where Summer Magic 201 last week's episode was. It's a little behind in terms of growth, but also, I mean, I gotta be honest, this show is a filler show that we just did with Let's Talk. We're just filling out the gaps, so, like, I don't know how catchy the title is. I'm sure some people appreciate the thumbnail, but it doesn't have any tits in it, so I don't know if people are gonna click on it randomly. You know how it is.
Yeah.
Though, actually, I don't know, because you were away for a while, and it's not super obvious, but Lucky, did you see, apparently someone linked last week's episode on Reddit recently.
Oh, they linked it?
Yeah, it's in Let's Talk. You just gotta scroll up a couple, because people are posting videos and huge links that blob up the channel.
I just know someone, I can't remember who it was, unfortunately, but I do know someone on Reddit was, they were talking about, like, YouTube content creators that that they like, and we came up as one of the positive ones. If I remember correctly, I think what they said exactly is, we're a little long-winded, but,
well, yeah, and that's honestly, I think that's, one, that is definitely where our community has rewarded us in being long-winded. Like, literally, the longer our shows got and the more we talked, the more views we would get, right? And the better engagement and ad rev. That's why our channel has grown, is as we've shifted to longer, looser content, though occasionally making sure to spice up our production and tighten it up on certain segments. I suspect timecodes probably help that, but in general, yeah, that's where our audience has pushed us and where our audience has rewarded us. I won't say it's wrong. I just literally started this show by saying we talk too much.
Oh shit, someone actually did. Let me see here.
But yeah, somebody just posted it, and it has positive upvotes, which me posting on the subreddit has never had, which is why I stopped.
There's no comments, though.
No comments. little sad, but I mean, at least it's got positive upvotes. That means people are seeing it. I don't know. That's a good sign.
That makes me happy.
That was definitely why, if you're ever wondering why, hey, we don't appear on the subreddit, the FGO subreddit, and like advertise, it's because I used to, but I never got any positive feedback or any love out of that. Really, like occasionally a couple of people would say, "Hey, cool," and then that was it. Like, never got a lot of upvotes. That was obviously a while ago too, but still, it's like that's definitely one of those things that Omega feels maybe we're strongly about, is the idea of like fair weather friends or whatever. Like, they didn't like us when we weren't cool. I don't care if now we're cool, they would suddenly like us.
Yeah.
But it does please me to see that other people are on their own initiative posting it and it being somewhat positively received. That's cool.
Yeah. Makes me happy. Yeah, thank you, MP3 Emiya Alter.
Yep, that is their Reddit username. But yeah, so that's where we start with our little Mea Culpa talk about the show. Do you have anything on What's Up you want to jump into?
Not particularly. Doing a little bit of things here and there at Gacha games, playing new games, one of them being Among Us. You want to talk about Among Us?
I mentioned it earlier, yeah, we can go ahead and talk about Among Us. So Among Us is not a new game, I think, by any means. I think it's actually quite old. It's only about $5 on
Steam.
Yeah, it's about $5 on Steam. It's free on iOS, though you have to pay to remove ads, but it's still pretty cheap. Like, I think Robin had to go that route because he couldn't get it to work on Steam, even though he owns it. And he paid like $2 to remove ads or something. Like, it's not a very expensive game. Very simple. A lot of people have said it reminds them of Space Station 13, if you've ever heard of that. I think it's probably a pretty obscure, like, weird browser, weird external client, whatever. But it's got that vibe where you play one of 3 maps, and the real crew have to finish tasks to kind of fix everything up and something. The plot's not very well defined. Hold on, can I sneeze? No, cut it.
You got it.
It's fine. Yeah, I might still sneeze anyway, but I had to pause there and work on it. So, there's no real plot explained. It's just if you fix all your tasks, the imposter loses. And you can still do tasks even if you're dead, because the imposter can murder your ass. A number of ways. A number of shocking ways. This is honestly probably why the default game has a silence rule. Because I expect they figured that people would probably be a little freaked out sometimes when you're just walking a corner and a guy comes near you and he just snaps your neck, or stabs you in the back, or fucking opens their huge mouth and a spike shoots out.
I haven't seen that one.
I've seen it a couple times. It's a real freaky one. They just murder you. But yeah, I think it's gotten popular recently because some streamers have been on it.
Yeah.
Which is also possibly why the servers are dog shit. Because that's the thing. The servers are bad. Like, I don't think the game has a lot of budget for, like, extra dedicated servers or anything.
Mm-hmm.
So, after they did apparently last night they did an update, which, can make it, easier to get in.
Mm-hmm.
But, the update actually apparently cleaned it up, also changing your region, because apparently the US region has the highest server load. So if you spread it out to different regions, it can maybe help.
Yeah, I can see that.
But it still has a tendency to get a little slow and feed you errors.
It takes a moment.
So it can take you a while to set up a game, get in a game, get everybody in the game, start the game. And unfortunately, it's got a lot of, like, hard-coded room rules, so if you want to change anything, you gotta shut the whole thing down and start again.
Yeah, it's a problem.
Which is a little annoying, but they at least released a recent update, so the developers are aware that people are playing it, so I expect we might get some either fine-tunings in this, or I've heard at least that they're working on a sequel or a revamp or whatever, which I wouldn't mind. But yeah, so usually one person, we played a little last night with 2 imposters, but usually one person is the imposter. Their job is to kill everybody or sabotage something in such a way that the game ends. Usually there's a couple things you can sabotage on the map that if they go all the way to a countdown, the crewmen lose, the crewmates lose.
Mm-hmm.
And if your number of dead people ever equals the number of imposters, you lose. Yes. So you don't have to actually literally kill everybody. Gosh, 3? Ooh, I don't like that. That means they only have to murder one extra person. Some in chat saying that apparently you can go up to 3 imposters. I'm like, I don't like the sound of that. Even with 10 people, that sounds rough. Because, like I said, you only have to the number of innocent survivors only has to equal the number of imposters. Mm-hmm. Which means that in a 10-player game, you only need to have each imposter murder one guy once and then murder an extra guy, and then, because there'd only be 7 innocents, then you'd have 3 innocents left and 3 imposters. That sounds way too easy because there's no real penalty for killing anybody. It's just that if you kill somebody in front of somebody, usually they will report the body immediately and be like, I saw it, he did it, which happened several times.
Yeah.
Lucky got a few times last night, but that's okay. Like, I told the story of the other night we were playing, and I got it. I was imposter 3 times in a row, and that happened to me every time. I was either immediately close to somebody or was spotted at the last second by someone, and it was brutal. I only managed to kind of weasel out of it by the 3rd time, but just going like, come on, it can't be me a 3rd time. No, Axe, you don't understand timing. You were complaining you'd never been the imposter when you were the imposter in several early rounds that victored, which I believe you also did most of the killing. Like, I think when you won that double round with Loth was like, holy shit, we won? How many people did you kill, Axe? Like, but yeah, no, last night I was on the imposter a couple of times, but I did get the last game and it was pretty good. I definitely was not the imposter a lot last night.
I was a few times. Like, I want to say like 3 or 4 times.
Mm-hmm. And we rotated through people a couple of times.
The same amount of times that you are, Axe.
Yeah, I think everybody. Like,
yeah.
If you've got between... Did we go to 10 or did we cap at 8? I think we got one round in with 9.
Yeah, we got a couple at 10. Like, a few at 9.
Yeah, then, but like, if we played like maybe 30-ish games and we had between 10 to 6 people, or 10 to 7 people, I think, at the lowest, that's still a pretty decent spread if you got it 3 or 4 times out of 30 games. That's pretty evenly distributed. I think when we cycled off, a member of our community going by Ereshkigal got a lot of times in a row, and she was terrifying.
Ereshkigal is very scary.
She is really good at the vents. I don't know about the lag thing. Well, I don't want to daub on Axe too much. A couple other people do it, but several other people like to make excuses for Among Us, and I'm like, I don't buy it. No, you died. She's just really good at vents. She's fast. Because if you know the vent placement, well, it doesn't mean I don't know what our kill range is set at. Sometimes the kill range seems very far.
It does. I have gotten got from a distance several times.
Yeah, you can be killed when you don't think you can be killed. That's the important thing to note. The imposter doesn't have to touch you. They can get you from a ways away. It's just usually you get up close to somebody, so there's less a chance of somebody seeing. The imposter can also universally, one of the things they can do is kill the lights, which means crewmates have an incredibly narrow field of vision. That is the best time to murder because nobody can see shit. Ghosts and the imposter have full FOV even when lights are off. But you can totally get murked pretty hard in the dark. But basically there's no penalty for killing openly other than that if somebody sees a body, they can report it, and then they call a vote. There's a discussion period, then you vote out for an imposter, or you can vote to skip if you don't know. And I usually, both as the imposter and as the crewmate, I usually trend to not voting anybody out on the first corpse unless it's pressing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you get a body reported and you suddenly discover 3 people are dead, you're like, well, shit, we gotta pick somebody.
Yeah.
Because otherwise we're running out of innocence. But if it's just like if you're in a big 8 to 10 player game, and there's one corpse, you don't want to jump the gun. You don't want to kill extra people, right? And get an innocent, because that just takes you closer and closer to failure.
Unless you have some pretty damning evidence.
Yeah, unless you go where was that body found? And this was actually a thing we had to start doing, was people started calling emergency meetings because they saw that people were dead on monitors, which is one of the things you can do, but they did not know where the body was.
Yeah.
And so we had a lot of times where we just couldn't peg the imposter because it was well, there's 3 fucking corpses, but nobody's found them, so we can't say who was near them.
Yeah. I remember one time we were able to win pretty early because what were we playing on? We were playing on, what was it? We were playing on the fucking planet. But
Polis, I think.
Polis. But I was making my way to the office from the specimen lab, and I passed 2 characters, one following the other. Now, that's not necessarily the weirdest thing, because, as we said, there's a lot of tasks spread out throughout the station that get complete.
Yeah, and we tuned it up so that when we had more players, because we were playing with only one imposter a lot of the time, that players needed to do slightly more tasks than normal so the imposter could actually get shit done.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you set the tasks too few, they'll finish them all before it's over, even if they're... Because remember, you can do tasks even if you're dead.
Yes.
So yeah, a lot of the times players will have the exact same task. Like, God, there were so many on the Polis map. There were so many maps we started where like 5 people had to do the fucking keys.
Yeah, the dropship key. So everyone would just be like, "Oh, wait, just run up there."
Yeah, everyone would just scooch up into the corner, and that was perfectly normal. So yeah, 2 people going by each other, not that weird.
Not that weird, but I checked but just to double check and make sure everything was okay. Like right in the office, there's this thing where you can check everyone's map placement. I checked it, and there was no one in the lab or nearby. I was like, "Oh no!" So I ran back and checked and looked around, and I found the body. I was like, "Shit!" So, but because of that, I was able to go like, "All right, I saw 2 people go here. Here's the dead body, and the other person's nowhere to be found." And we just nailed it. And that's one of those things that like you need to like put together clues and everything.
Mm-hmm. And there are usually every map has like 2 or 3 things that let you do that.
Yeah.
Like we didn't play much on the airship map, but that has a door monitors system, so you can check where people when people pass by door sensors, and thus it's very telling if you're like, hey, so Loth died, and the only person who passed by a door near Loth was Dallas. It's probably Dallas, stuff like that. Man. Or even more telling, if you don't see them pass by an appropriate sensor and they pass by a completely different sensor, that's like that dude used a fucking vent.
Mm-hmm. Although once in a while someone does something fucking mad, like speaking of Dallas,
fucking mad, like,
one of the things
as the other imposter, he did this to me, and I was like, damn.
One of the wild things he did is when one of the most common probably 2 things to do on fucking Polis is kill the lights and seal the doors.
Yes, and that's another thing the imposters that they can do on some maps. They can seal doors into a section, which means you have to do yet another mini game to open the doors. So it slows people down, it blocks sight lines, and really, because imposters have access to vents we've mentioned, they can shortcut. Locking doors and killing lights is a great time to murder people.
Yeah.
Nobody can see shit, and nobody can go anywhere.
But when they kill the lights, you have to go to the electrical box, and since lights are important, usually everybody runs to the lights. Like, get it done! Get it done!
Well, this is definitely a thing. It's not as urgent as the countdown, like with lights. I can be, if I'm in the middle of a task, I can let lights fuck off, because there's no countdown. But it sucks because you can't see anything. Generally, you want to fix it, right? But the thing is, you can't always trust one person to fix it, because they could be an imposter. Or if there's only 2 people, you could get fucking murdered. So, usually when you're doing that important stuff, I think people tend to group up, because there's nothing, other than if you have somewhere else urgent to be, like on the Polis map, there's the seismic thing where it needs 2 people to reset it at different ends.
Yep.
But other than, like, that kind of situation, there's actually no penalty for you all to group up around a task and fix it, at least observe. So, you tend to bundle up.
Yeah, so, I remember, it was like 4 people had bundled up.
Yes, I think there were 4. I think there were 4 of you, because I was also in that room. I think I might have even triggered the lights. And I saw a whole bunch of people go to do the lights, so I, as the other imposter, left.
And
so 4 people went in that room.
And Dallas, fucking Mad Lad, just killed somebody at the fucking lights. And it was a moment of fucking genius, because everyone was clustered up on each other. No one could tell who did it.
Right, because when you kill somebody, as for other people, there's very little animation.
Yeah.
You get a full animation, right, when you see somebody, when you get killed, but, as the imposter or as other people, you just basically see the victim kind of explode.
Yeah. So no one gets hit.
Yeah.
So,
you immediately called him out on it, too. You were like, it was a fucking Mad Lad thing to do, it's probably Dallas. And I was just like, yeah, but it definitely was Dallas, but I'm not going to say nothing, because I'm the other guy. Did we win that round?
You probably did.
I think we might have, because Dallas, I think, got another couple of people where you finally yeeted him, but that let me fly under the radar for a little bit.
Yeah.
That is a beauty of playing 2 imposters, is you can actually, like, if one of you can just go apeshit killing people, because if they catch one, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
You just have to kill a little bit more, but yeah, it's, you also need a lot of, like I said, you need a lot of innocence for that, because of the way the math works. But yeah, all in all, Among Us, fun game. I wouldn't mind playing some more, maybe with some different people. I think I said this earlier, that I was like, I expected that Lucky would either love or hate this game.
Yeah. It turns out, Lucky loves it. As I said, Lucky has a problem, like, with games that are nothing but lies and competition. Which Among Us is not. It's lies.
No, Among Us is a hidden role game, but it has very, very clearly defined roles.
Yeah. Like, it's still a cooperative. Like technically, it's a cooperative. It's a cooperative game.
Yes, it's a cooperative game with usually one hidden role.
Yeah.
Well, if you're challenged, you should be able to lie, and there are some imposters who could not lie. If you caught them, they would fold. Well, Werewolf's cooperative too. I just think, and honestly, lucky you've played Werewolf and didn't seem too upset by it.
No.
Werewolf can be fucky depending on your combos. I think honestly, out of our players, I think have we ever recorded? We should maybe record some Werewolf sometime so people can see it. But other people have played it. It's a very famous game. But I think probably Axe and Dallas get sassiest at Werewolf. Dallas because he's just a fucking animal man. Not a werewolf. He's just an animal man. He likes all the fucky trolley rolls. And I think I don't mean this again as like anything mean, Axe, but because I know you're listening. But I think you have a certain amount of impatience, especially when dealing with people who are lying, because you're not good at that all the time anyway. You've said, so you tend to get impatient and just either box people, like vote for people because they're annoying you or because you just want to move things on and not actually like look at the clues. So you tend to make rash decisions which make you annoyed and make other people annoyed. But Werewolf, especially One Night Ultimate Werewolf, is very modular. So even the people who play some of these more hidden roll-y games are like, nah, let's not play with that roll. That's fucky. Let's not. Throw it out. Because Werewolf is generally cooperative. But
what was the other one? Other hidden roll game? It was the one where you have to shoot the sheriff.
Bang, the dice game.
Yeah.
That one was a little weird, but I think it worked for you both times, because the first time, you were the sheriff, so you were like, I can trust me. The second time, you were the other renegade. I was the other renegade. And so that was just like, everyone is my enemy.
Yeah.
So it worked out for you, I don't know. But those two games, I'm kind of sad we didn't record them, but we just kind of casually played them, because it was just, damn. Both those games were very weird.
I could probably record. I can record them. I have my OBS.
We could have easily recorded them. It's just we didn't set up. Like, I can probably.
What we should do, actually, I could probably do this. Is instead of just doing full records, we can do fucking just smash cuts of shit happening.
Yeah, we could probably do highlights.
Yeah,
that'd be pretty fun. Honestly, we should probably do some highlights and other stuff too. But
yeah, no, like I said, I like Among Us. I like Werewolf. I like Bang, the dice game. What other games that did we play? I do like.
You did not have a good time at Coup.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. It's probably because you said you like more cooperative stuff. Coup, there is no well, we didn't play with teams, but even in the end, when you only have everybody on the same team, it goes back to a free for all. Coup is a game with no teams. It even explicitly says there is no second place, right?
Yeah,
that is much more fucky. And honestly, Coup is a game you have to play sparingly. Yeah. We even the people who are more open about these hidden role games, we usually only play a couple, like 2 or 3 rounds of Coup, and then we're like, we gotta stop. We need to stop.
I do like Love Letter though.
Yeah, Love Letter. Well, Love Letter is not really a hidden role because you're constantly drawing cards and changing your numbers. That's just a fun little guessing kind of game.
I would say I kind of say it's hidden roles because you basically try to keep you try to get a roll and keep it and try to keep the high.
It's competitive and you're doing stuff and you hide your hand, but it's not quite the same as like Coup, where like in Coup everything is hidden, everything is lies until you get called out.
Mm-hmm.
Like with Love Letter, every turn you play an action and you compare stuff and just you kind of judge things and sometimes you're guessing. And honestly, I don't think we've never been very sassy with Love Letter. Like, I don't see a lot of people, like, taking potshots like, oh, you got me out first time, well, I'm gonna immediately clap back and try and guard you or something.
Yeah. Let's see here.
But yeah, that's Among Us. It's super fun. We're really gonna keep playing it. Hopefully they do some updating.
Yep. Yeah, as I said, because we play Friday, because Lucky has changed the name from Jackbox Friday to Community Game Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't have people necessarily have to feel like they have to play Jackbox, because last week we tried to do it and there was only like 3 players. I'm like, I need at least like 4 people here, people.
Yeah, and I couldn't join because I was super tired.
Yeah,
that week after, and I also had to finish editing the show.
So I was like, all right, we're skipping it. And then I was just thinking about that over the week. It's like, we don't have to play a Jackbox. We just have to play.
No, it's just that Jackbox is the easiest game to be like, let's all get together and do a thing. Super easy to set up, super start. We do stuff. We play some games. We're done.
we go. But no, like now, like yeah, let's see here. I have and now on my computer, along with all my other games, like I have like Jackbox, Tabletop Simulator, and Among Us, and I'm just like, yeah, probably get some more stuff. Yeah, but I'll see about maybe recording our games and just making community highlights of just laughing. Like one thing that killed me, it actually killed me super bad, is playing Among Us. Is there was one point that someone got killed and no one fucking knew what happened. So I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna vote for myself. I don't give a fuck. And
Right, and then somebody else. Was it Axe? Did Axe
yeah, it was
vote for
Axe.
you?
Yeah, Axe voted for me as well. And because it was, I can't remember. I can't remember. It wasn't that no one, like everyone else abstained. It was like
Everybody else voted for like one person.
One person. And so because I voted for myself, I literally yeeted myself into the lava, and that killed me. I laughed so hard.
Because you can vote for yourself, and oftentimes, at least with a couple of the players, when they're well and truly caught, the imposter will vote for himself and be like, "Yeah, no, it was me. There's nothing to say. I did it.
It was me.
I would vote for me too."
No, Axe. It wasn't 2 out of 7. It was the fact that it was 2, and everyone else selected 1.
Yes, it's a pure. It's a pure democracy. Whoever has the most votes gets got. And in the event of a tie, nobody is picked.
Yes.
So ties result in nothing. So yeah, very often times, we definitely accidentally yeeted a couple of people because we pulled the trigger and just like everybody was like, bandwagon, that person is dead now.
Well, I think that's also a little bit of the point sometimes.
Oh yeah, sure. And if you're an imposter, I totally use that to like, Dallas's mic. Several people had some mic connection issues in the very last game, which was a little weird. But Dallas's mic borked.
Worked at the right time, dude.
At the perfect time for me. I'm also glad though because Dallas is infamously blind in Among Us. He cannot. he almost always, when we're ghosts and we're having ghost conversations, and Dallas is like, "I think it was X." He's completely wrong. He's absolutely wrong, and all of the ghosts just go rah, 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 make angry ghost noises. Because ghosts have access to basically a team text chat. So I would have been upset if he'd actually been speaking, called me out on something that wasn't true, because he didn't actually see me kill Axe. He was somewhere else. So in that round, I killed like 3 people in one building really, really fast. I got Ereshkigal when she went to go check the cameras, and that was just like, well. And then I broke the lights, and then Axe came back from fixing the lights, and I got him before he could leave the building. Then I went south, and I got you. You were number 3. You were just chilling in oxygen by yourself, and all the doors were locked, and I was like, well, Lucky's a dead man. And then I didn't see anybody else, so I broke the lights again, and I circled back around, and I reported my own corpse to, like, say that I, like, circled around. So I was able to easily, because Dallas couldn't speak and wasn't talking, I was easily able to push it on him. He got thrown out. And then I just followed Loth to murder him, because there were only, like, 2 people left. I think I sabotaged the reactors.
Yeah, something like that.
But so that happens sometimes too. Like if you don't speak or you don't know what to say, you get got. But also some people, like I said, some people are bad imposters. You target them and they fold like a piece of paper.
Yeah.
I think the only time you, Lucky, really folded was when it was obvious. It was like you were just like, nah, he got me. Fuck. Damn it.
Yeah, if they see me do the killing, I'm just like, well, like one of the people say is blame the other person immediately. Like I remember I saw Tactic David do it, and he said it was Lucky. And I think the only thing that saved me that round, literally the only thing that saved me that round, is the fact that you had saw me do a med scan.
Yes, I knew you couldn't because there are certain tasks that do animations in the game, medical scans, shooting the guns, etc. And imposters can't actually do tasks. They can fix sabotage and stuff, but they can't actually do the regular tasks. So if you see somebody get scanned or fire the guns, they're real, because they're actually doing the task. So I saw Lucky get scanned, and I was like, okay, well, Lucky's been scanned, so I know it's not him, so it's Tactic David.
Yeah.
But sometimes that has worked, that kind of flip shop.
Yeah.
You didn't play with Robin. Robin was working Friday night, but we played games with Robin Thursday night, I think, and Robin got reverse shim-shammed and got yeeted off the airship because you were playing the airship map all night. Got yeeted off the airship as an innocent man a lot. Because, yes, Robin is naturally shifty, but also just people weaponize that against Robin to be like, Robin, how dare you? And just, I think I even tried it a couple times, and I might even have gotten him yeeted once, just because it's how it works. By the way, each map has different Well, yeah, Robin did a spite meeting call once and got thrown off the ship because I was like, I don't believe, because you only have a limit. When you do an emergency meeting, you set a timer, and you only have one per person. And I was like, okay. And also, it sucks everybody away from their tasks, which can be really annoying because some tasks are complex or take time to do.
Yes.
So I immediately said, okay, I understand that. I think that we should reward your pettiness by throwing you off the ship because you called the meeting for no reason, and everybody bought it, and so Robin was thrown off. But yeah, every map has slightly different kill animations. On Polus, you get thrown into lava and give a thumbs up, like the Terminator. In the air one, you get thrown off the side, so you fall to the ground. And in the spaceship one, which we played a couple of maps on first, because people were confused about what map was what. You get thrown into space. You get ejected into space.
Spice.
All of them could be described as a yeet.
Yep.
But yeah, it's pretty fun.
It's pretty fun. I wasn't sure if I was going to enjoy it or not because, as I said, Lucky Does is literally it's all or nothing sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So no, I'm glad I liked it because, as I said, I do feel times that sometimes I am petty with games, like if I feel like people are like the thing that I think that got me on Coup was that I felt like Robin was lying to me for no apparent reason, just to lie to me. So that got my goat, as people say.
You usually react most bothered when people lie for no reason or unnecessarily, like, because it seems like they're spiting you in particular. You don't. Yeah. You don't care that people are trying to kill you. You care that people are lying to you for no reason.
Yeah.
And Robin and Vesper, members of our community who join a lot of our TDS and stuff, they both will very casually lie. It's just that usually they're being obviously ironic about it, but sometimes they're not, and I can see why Lucky, like in Coup, would be like, no, don't do that, though.
Actually, I was like literally the most wholesome character in that Coup game. I was just like, I'm not gonna do anything. I think I killed someone once.
Yes, and you got somebody with a clapback. Like somebody tried to murder you, and you called them out, and they got got.
But other than that, I was like, no, here, have some go. Have some go. And if it had been for Robin, pulling the shim sham on me, I think I might have won the game by being the most like fucking passive.
Right, and that's probably why Robin did it. But Robin had been targeting Dallas, and we were in a semi-alliance because we were both against Dallas because Dallas was just being chaos mode.
Mm-hmm.
But after failing to I think Dallas might have actually won that game in the end. It was either Robin or Dallas because unfortunately,
it was Dallas.
Okay, yeah. So Robin doomed us by betraying you and then also betraying my trust, and I was just like, I can't trust you to take care of Dallas. You should have took care of him, and then it got us got. It got everybody got.
Yeah, and that, like you said, that got me mad because I'm like, I'm literally like,
No, you were like, I'm not doing nothing. And honestly, and I feel like in Coup, well, that person, like, there are times when you're like, okay, tactically, this person is fine. We need to, like, get rid of them. But I think you were still down one. Like, somebody still took a crack at you already.
Yeah.
Just because we realized you had 2 cards, and so we wanted to even the playing field. But, like, there's no reason to just outright kill anybody who's not being overly threatening, because you have very... Coup's one of those games where sometimes you have subtle threats and you have very real present threats. And I at least personally always think you should deal with the real and present ones, because here's the thing. Maybe if you get in a contest with Lucky will fuck you over later. If you know Dallas is going to fuck you over already, you should get rid of Dallas. Damn it.
Yeah.
And I'm not taking that point because me and Dallas were in a war and it kept going without my extra pillar of support and I may have been murdered. Yeah.
But yeah, so no, I like Among Us. I definitely will vote for it to be played more. And
yeah, also, is there hidden role games that I don't like?
Really?
Yeah, like it's called, I think, like Shadows over Avalon. It's a King Arthur themed game, but I watched some people play it and it just doesn't seem very interesting because you got like 2 traitors and they're trying to like out somebody and find Merlin. It's just like, yeah, it didn't really seem to flow in a really entertaining way. Like there was no actual real like super deduction about who the traitors were. It just kind of happened. Well, yeah, and you need the right things to win anyway. It just didn't seem like it rewarded it very well. You've seen us play Secret Hitler, right, Lucky?
Oh yeah. I couldn't get in the game, but I saw you guys going back and forth.
That's a game that I feel also hit or miss on. It's very, it's a weird one, and especially with smaller teams. Like there's a certain amount of randomness to it that, like, you don't know for sure, and that's how traders can exist. But yes, it is also all about reading and trusting people, and unfortunately with our group, we played a lot of these games together. There are some people who are just not trusted, and who, like we said with Robin, get unnecessarily murdered. Because the thing is, if they are not a bad role, if they're not like a traitor role, or they're the fascists or whatever, at least I will say this, when I'm the traitor, imposter, fascist, whatever, I will totally capitalize on the fact that other people don't trust somebody to get them fucking killed so I can win. Like, I don't think I'm a very vengeful player of hidden role games, but I can be very, very pragmatic playing them and be like, oh, you guys are all going to bandwagon on this guy? He's fucking dead. This man's dead. That puts me closer to victory. All right, how long have we talked? We talked for about 30 minutes about Among Us. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Like I said, look forward to it. I'll see about setting up maybe some recording.
Yeah.
And we can maybe, I don't know, do highlights. I'll see how other people are doing Among Us highlights, because I know that's a thing now.
Yeah, people are doing streams, highlights, stuff like that. It's shown up. I will say, I know sometimes, I know you feel like sometimes we compare to Achievement Hunter a lot, but they play a lot of games, and sometimes that's how a lot of us get introduced to stuff. I watch them do a Let's Play. It's funny, but as far as playing the game Among Us goes, they're complete animals at it. Like, that's part of why I doubled down on the rule that, even when we did talking rounds, because sometimes when you got new people in, I like to leave the comms open so you can actually talk through, like, mini games and stuff, because sometimes people genuinely don't understand what's going on. Like, I think, Vesper got a little turned off the game because the first time we played, Loth and Dallas may have implied a little too hard that you would have instructions to the mini games. You really don't. Just that some mini games are more obvious than others. And we weren't talking right away, so Vesper got a little frustrated because they didn't know how to do fucking anything. For the couple of rounds we played. So that's why I'm like, no, we should stay with open comms so we can get everybody settled in. And then when we're like, okay, this is getting too hard for the imposter, we need to, like, go into silent mode, because that makes the game much more tense and interesting. Achievement Hunter, at least in the couple of games they played, they talked all the time, they did the most complex maps, and they totally did the whole, hey, what you doing, sneaking up on me? Like, I think it works because they probably had very full people, and they have a lot of history, but it's definitely like, okay, I don't want to necessarily emulate them, because we had that problem already where we did a game with talking, and eventually we had to turn off talking because too many people were going, oh, hi, blue. Oh, hi, red. And then it's just like, well, you can't fucking kill anybody because your last words will be, oh, hi, that color. Yep. Like, honestly, I think for AH it works because they've played so many of these dumb hidden role games that they're suspicious of everyone all the time. Even the innocents. Like, they are such chaos mode that the imposter can get away with because you'll have other people yelling who aren't involved. But that's not necessarily how we work.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think some of our community members get almost annoyed or upset when you overly blame them. I would say obviously, you can't always control your emotional response, but I would say try to relax. It's just a game. Like, I don't think we're necessarily, when we're playing Among Us, we're not necessarily making value judgments per se on people for their trustworthiness. We might call you out if you're a bad liar, just because it's like, well, it's obvious that you're, what was it? Varen last night just broke into laughter at one point when I called him out. And I'm like, I saw Varen do it, and Varen just started laughing because, the timing. And I was like, well, obviously it's them. They're dying. So yeah, it's, I wouldn't say it's necessarily these kind of games are value judgment on your trustworthiness or not trustworthiness most of the time. Mm-hmm. But definitely some people, not all games are for everybody. It's a very important point. We might circle back to that later, talking about other stuff.
Yep. Let's see here. Yeah, we can probably move on from that, but what do we move on from Among Us? Let's keep on games. How are you going with Ghosts of Tsushima?
I'm in Act 2.
Oh,
pretty firmly in there.
Mm-hmm.
I've got I went out of my way to go get the first big story quest I did was go out of the way to get the Sakai clan armor.
Yeah! Which
is cool, because it extends your ability to use standoffs.
Yeah, it is. Super awesome.
Also, it looks really rad. The style's really good. Because the clan samurai armor is a very traditional, basic style of armor.
Yes.
Chest piece, leg guards, big shoulder pads kind of thing. The Sakai clan armor is a little bit more of a modern, it's got kind of a scaled look, lots of small steel plates kind of woven together. Mm-hmm. Very classy. I just found the black dye merchant, so now I've got ultra black versions of some of my stuff. And I've been doing pretty good on the upgrade front. My longbow and halfbow, I think, are both fully upgraded. The traveler's clothes are fully upgraded. My Tonto is fully upgraded. I think my sword is either fully upgraded or one from full. Been very productive. Also, I make a point to go back to shops whenever I actually get them, because when you get up there, it takes a shitload of supplies, so it takes a shitload of currency. So I'm always like, oh, the game always lets you know, hey, you got an upgrade. I'm like, fucking finally, Jesus, let's go.
I'm super appreciative that they tell me that I have enough for an upgrade.
Yes, and that they highlight where you can get those upgrades blinking in bright colors on the map. That's so helpful to be like, oh yeah, you should go here to get this done. Like, obviously, you could return to your normal hub, your big hubs that you're familiar with, but sometimes you will find different merchants in different places, and it's like, oh, well, this is a lot closer to where I'm going next anyway, so.
Yeah.
They've got, especially since you said they added that Firefly feature to, like, the Traveler's Clothes, overall, they've got a lot of really good design elements, right?
Yeah.
To, like, get everything together. But yeah, so I have access to the Sekai Clan armor and the blowgun. The blowgun is as fun as you would expect it to be. You get 2 kinds of darts, kids. You get poison darts, which causes a man to die horribly, puking up his own blood. Like, it's very interesting to see kind of the character drift. I like Jin's dynamic a lot, but I like how he's just, like, talking to his nursemaid, basically, and she's like, oh yeah, I make poison to kill rats, and he's like, could you make it strong enough to kill a man? And she's like, yeah, but that would be awful. I don't think anybody deserves that, and Jin's like, Mongols do. And then I think actually you kill some Straw Hats first, and you're just like, those guys die.
Yep. Isn't that a moment? The second time you use it is when you get the fucking flashback.
When you get the yet another flashback. The second type of darts you get are hallucinogen darts, which basically make a guy go berserk and attack his own allies.
Yep.
Which is honestly usually more fun than the poison dart because it causes a big ruckus and distracts enemies.
Yep.
And can kill more than one guy. But yeah, it was a really interesting thing to get into that. So yeah, I think I got most of the tools and stuff. Yeah, because I've got all 4 ranged weapons. Is there a 4th ghost tool? Ghost weapon? I didn't even know.
I'm trying to remember.
Because I've unlocked Sticky Bomb, Kunai, Smoke Bomb. And there's a 4th slot, but I don't know if there's a 4th weapon.
Oh, no. I think that's the, if it's just the one, it might, wait, no, you should have gotten that in the castle, where you can stab people through screens.
Yeah, I unlocked that.
Yeah.
There is one, I think there's one evolving tactic that I haven't unlocked. I don't know yet, though.
Oh, I know what it is. You'll get it at the end of Act 2.
I kind of figured. Because the big thing that I know is that there's a couple of legendary. Like, I also did the Dance of Wrath quest. That's great. That's a really... Honestly, Act 2 has a lot of really good duels. Like, it introduces duels as an actual map feature.
Yes.
And all of them are great. I most recently was just bumming around doing some... Like, I talked about you, I was doing a tale when you came back and you were eating food. I ran into a duel on the seashore, duel amongst the waves while I was going to a shrine. It was the best.
No, like, they,
like... aesthetics.
Yeah, all the duel rings, they're set up. Just be like, yeah, because the story is when you do the tale, you have to defeat these fucking 7 duels before you can take on, like, this fucking last dude. Mm-hmm. And they're all just all around the map, and they're all in these fucking wild-ass places. I'm just like,
I don't think I even have that tale yet. The duels are just on the map, so you can do them anyway.
Yeah. I think the tale you get in the pirate town.
Okay, I'm working on theirs though. I like to usually work on my available or at least do a decent amount of my available ally quests. Like I did a couple of Norio the Warrior Monk's quests.
Oh, poor Norio.
Yeah, he's got a bum one. I'm also working on the legendary armor of Gusaku. I think I got 1 key left. Because there's a lot of armor in this game. I'm actually surprised. It's really interesting. They've got a lot of different styles, which are good.
Well, you know what's something that I appreciate? You can literally switch your armor like mid fucking combat.
Oh yeah, no, I noticed that. And I've been doing that because of the standoff thing. Like when I run into dudes in the wilderness, I'm usually wearing the traveler's clothes, so I get better map clearance, and so I'm alerted when there's a thing nearby. Yep. But I can call a standoff, literally pause the game, switch to the Sakai clan armor, and get extra standoff kills. Or I can go from stealth. So currently, I guess the Ronin outfit is the stealthiest because it reduces enemy detection and gives you more melee damage.
Yeah, there's two. There's 2 stealth armors, and they said you'll get the second one. Going into...
Yeah, I know, because I go to Die Traders, there's like, you haven't unlocked like 2 or 3 armors left. So I'm like, okay, I see. I see what's going on.
Yeah, there's one more.
Yeah, but by default, the Ronin seems to be the starter stealth armor, so you'll be like, a starter. Well, then when you blow stealth, you're like, clan armor. I am Invincible Man now, and I might even, I'm going to assume Gusaku is probably even more tanky. Because he's unbreakable.
Yes.
By the way, I think we talked about that before. I still love all of the legendary tales and stuff, all that stuff, the techniques, the legends, whatever. They're all really, really good. They usually end in really, really interesting fights or challenges. They show you lots of really interesting places, because usually they have, like, a color theme. I would say the only one that doesn't is Gusaku's Armor. That's just go to farmsteads. Even then, that lets you explore, settlements. But, Yarikawa's Curse, you bum all around old Yarikawa, you find stuff, and then you fight Yarikawa's Vengeance, which is a really chuny woman wearing a mask. And Jin does the same thing he did with Heaven's Strike, where he's like, I'm learning. Like, I think that's the like, when you get the third class, you get her to, like, her third phase, she's like, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm learning. I've already seen your technique. And then it's like, do the Dance of Wrath. Which, by the way, the Dance of Wrath, pretty great.
I fucking love it, no.
It takes 3 resolve, but you get 3 high-speed, high-damage slashes.
And if you actually kill someone, you'll just move on to the next person.
Yes, and you can direct with the stick. So if there's multiple enemies, you can be like, that guy's dead, that guy's dead, that guy's dead. And if you don't kill the guy, you can tap him with more.
Yep.
It's a really great, and it's a very good high-power technique. I've also found a lot of really good charms. The charms are great.
Yep.
But yeah, all in all, the game still has great aesthetics. Obviously, there are still, like, I think you talked about Yuriko's story a little bit anyway, but even then, you just do the mission with her to get the blowgun and the armor, and you're just like, no, I see where this is going. Well, okay, I hope nobody's listening too tightly about spoilers, but I called it correctly with the castle and Ryuzo. I'm like, 50-50, this man is dead or I must fight him.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, that was a great scene. That's basically the boss fight climax of Rescue Lord Shimura. Like, holy shit. In a fucking pond with the lanterns. God, the aesthetics of this game just perfect. Love it so much. We see a lot of interesting stuff. Like, your uncle's cool. He's great. People aren't wrong if they think he's kind of a stuck-up asshole, though. Like,
well, they also kind of mentioned this in game too.
Oh yeah, no, people call him out on it, and even Jin's just like, yeah, but he's still my uncle though. He's still cool, but like, I understand where he's coming from a lot, but he is very much a hard ass and is
hard ass traditionalist,
getting people literally murdered for it. But like, because he's like, no, it's not enough that your friend, the common thief, literally helped you liberate me, and her brother designed the tools that allowed you to besiege this castle and save me. No, she needs to continue to be useful to my army before she can go home. And Yuna's just like, dude, what the fuck? And even Jin's kind of like, listen, he'll do it eventually. I'll make sure you can trust me. I'll get it. I'll make sure you can get out. And somehow I'm just like, are you though? Are you actually gonna get her out? It's all rough. Like there's
spoilers, so I'm not gonna say.
I know, no. There's no need to. We've talked about some of it. But I understand the tone of Ghosts of Tsushima very well. It's like everything's just a little fucked up. Like, and it's very classic samurai movie where it's like everything is about the sacrifices you make and the people you can save versus the people you lose and like what you do. Like we talked about this. Like it's got a lot of deep explorations on Mongol cultures. Some of the Mongol characters are even kind of deep, like the Khan. But also they're also just huge assholes who are just fucking around.
Yep.
But they're also bandits who are just like, dude, what the fuck? You got a sword? What the fuck are you doing? Why are you here?
I do like though, and there's all these like stormy clouds. Every once in a while, you'll find like a little light. Like I can't remember where it was, but I don't know if he's done this story. But there was literally bandits stealing something, but you find out they were stealing things so they could hide them. So
yeah, that's in Act 1. You find a guy being suspicious, you follow him, and you fucking call him out, and they're like, "No, my lord, we're hiding things." And you're like, "All right, but when this is over, these better get returned." And they're like, "Yeah, they will." And I'm like, "Okay, cool, let's go."
I think there was like another story of bandits who are like we're gonna help you liberate or save a town at some point. So like,
there's also another case where. In the Yarikawa's Vengeance line, you find a guy who's like, they're like, he must be a traitor, and Jin goes to check it out, and he's just like, no, I just come over here to mourn my dead friend. I just do it in private because his wife and family would find it weird.
Yeah.
That I'm here grieving in the middle of the night. Which is subtle, but also historically accurate.
No.
No, like,
some people have the gay panic in this game.
But no, and that seems that would be historically appropriate because like a lot of ancient cultures, Japan was not Christian heteronormative.
No.
But yeah,
No, actually,
so like, and I understand why they would be like that. So it's like, oh yeah, no, he's just grieving a dead friend. And even then, some of the schemes, like I did the first Kenji quest you can do in Act 2, Nato in the sake cellar, where like, yeah, Kenji fucked it up again, but he kind of fucked it up in a positive way, where he's like, listen, I knew what to do. I got Lord Sakai. It's fine. Everything's fine, my friend. I'm sure it won't be fine later. Eventually, all of his fuckery's gonna get that man killed. But that's the thing. I'm like, everybody in this game is either gonna like die or they're gonna have to learn their lesson. Like, nobody's coming out of this squeaky clean. It seems like.
No.
But that, it's kind of a terrible tragedy thing going on too. So makes sense. But yeah, overall, still enjoying the game. I kind of split my time between, like I said, doing side quests, especially doing legendary quests, but also doing, just random map world items and pushing forward story when it matters. Like, I went out of my way to go way up there and do the Sakai Clan armor, but I also did lots of, like, Mongol camps along the way or points of interest. Always pop a fox den when you see one, because they're fun. Especially I like shrines, because, one, they're really interesting and nice, talking about those glimmers of sunshine. If nothing else, I do love the fact that for the most part, nature is unaffected by this. Like, yeah, there's some Mongol logging camps, right? But there are still a wealth of natural vistas and, wonderful situations and scenarios on Tsushima you can experience in the shrines, the hot springs. I think at some point I think I ran into a guy who gave me a tip about hot springs and was like, yeah, the Mongols avoid them for some reason. I'm like, that's cute. I think Jin suggests they might be afraid of the sulfur smell, which could make sense.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll see your thoughts about that when you hit Act 3.
Yeah, we'll see if there's some stuff. Like, if he's got to set fire to the whole island, I don't know. But there's a lot of fire, by the way. A lot of fire in Ghosts of Tsushima. Fire for good, fire for bad.
Oh,
fire. But I want to maybe fork that into talking about some other stuff, but I would need to take a quick break. So let's take an intermission. We're about an hour in.
Righto.
Okay, we're back from that brief intermission. And Lucky had to adjust his volume. I don't know if that was coming through before, but it was definitely audible during our little break.
Yep.
But yeah, so I said I wanted to, now that we're about an hour in, I wanted to cover also, just because I talked about it before with Ghost of Tsushima, some L5R topics.
Yeah.
Just because, one, again, I reminded that just as the game keeps going, more and more of the things you find and get are just even more like, oh, yeah, no, you can totally emulate that. You can literally do the blowgun and poison. That's an actual thing you can do. There's a technique, a ninjutsu technique, to be able to, as a single action, poison an item, including a blowgun dart, and fire it, basically use the weapon.
Mm-hmm.
But it is interesting because, much like how Lord Shimura acts, it's explicitly pointed out in lore that poison is one of those things that is always verboten to samurai. It is never honorable. There's they talk about this in the Scorpion Clan novella, which I will plug a lot. Not my favoritist, but it's still very good. But they talk about how to the samurai of Rokugan, the setting of L5R, and they have specific words for them, but there's two kinds of things. There's basically, it's like disapproved and dishonorable, or like unfortunate and then actually forbidden. So there's some things which are dishonorable in context, like you're not supposed to touch dead flesh except when you're at war, because you can take trophies, right? And you can handle soldiers, etc. Like, when you're in a war context, it's okay. It can even be okay to, like, lie to an enemy or to attack from hiding. Not necessarily, like, full-blown ambush, but, like, there are contexts where certain actions are okay. And then there's some stuff which is never okay, like stabbing a guy in the back when he doesn't know you're there. That's never all right. That will always be a breach of honor. Poison is another one of those big ones, which is always considered verboten. So, carrying poisons can be forbidden, but also sometimes people don't understand, because that's a very big deal about medicine, right? Is that, the difference between a poison and a medicine is dosage.
Yes.
So, there can be interesting ways around that, but it's still definitely a tool that can happen. I don't think you can outright mimic the hallucination dart. Like, you can't make a guy fight his friends, but there are poisons which just hurt people. There are poisons which put people to sleep, basically tire them out. And then there's poison which dazes and disorients the target, confuses them, makes them easier to work on. But yeah, it's interesting to think about all these contexts because, while I wouldn't say that literally, Jin is Scorpion. Like actually, if you wanted to literally, I'll do a little fun bit. If you like Ghosts of Tsushima, if you literally want to play Jin Sakai in L5R, you should play a Hiruma. The Hiruma family of the Crab Clan are somewhat unique in all of the families, the samurai families of Rokugan, in that their lands are gone. They had a historical province. They had lands. Those were taken over by the Shadowlands, which is the horrible, gribbly monster zombie place. Kind of literally hell on earth. Yeah, it's funny. A lot of people make comparisons to the original Game of Thrones, A Song of Ice and Fire, the series, because A Game of Thrones, the first novel, came out about the same time the first edition of L5R did. So that they are probably not directly related, but they have a similar zeitgeist. So, for instance, they both have a stern clan who doesn't like politeness and all this social crap, who guard a wall that keeps gribbly zombies out. It's just that in Rokugan, their wall is in the south, and their gribbly clan are the Crab, not the Starks. But it's the same kind of thing. Like, there's a lot of cultural touchstones. Like, I definitely say calling it Game of Thrones, but with samurai, is very much a good intro to what the tone of a lot of L5R content is.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a decent way to look at it. The supernatural is a little more open because of the spirituality. Like, magic in Rokugan is religious magic, mostly. Like, Shugenja are warrior priests. They pray to the elemental kami, the kami in everyday things, and they do stuff. Like, if you pray to a fire kami might make a fireball happen. If you pray to a water kami, it might make it rain, or make water fill somebody's lungs, in case you can do that. Water is usually for healing, but the times it hurts people, it's very nasty. But yeah, so the Hiruma family used to have a lands. They had several provinces. They had a capital, a castle, all that stuff. But in the way back of the history of Rokugan, the Shadowlands kind of upswelled, and they invaded and sacked all their lands, and then the Crab built their modern Carpenter Wall, the Great Wall in the south, also kind of like the Great Wall of China. So all of the Hiruma lands lie on the other side of the wall. So all their historical family holdings, all their lands, a lot of their artifacts, a lot of their knowledge base and teachings are all basically lost. So the Hiruma definitely capture that kind of, we don't have our land anymore thanks to an overwhelming, super evil force that really sucks. Also, the Hiruma are arguably the shinobi family of the Crab, because they practice ninjutsu techniques, but because they practice them on shit like goblins and zombies and ogres and oni, it's usually okay. Because those aren't humans, and they're not other samurai, it's fine. There's no dishonor.
No dishonor.
Yeah, so the Hiruma are the shifty, sneaky Crab guys. They're usually scouts, saboteurs, that kind of stuff. But because they fight the evil creatures, the forces of Jigoku, of the realm of hell, I wasn't kidding about hell on Earth. There's literally a hellhole in the Shadowlands that hell comes out of. It's real freaky. But that would very much exemplify the kind of things that, as a character arc, Jin Sakai does. Like, his struggle with, like, I must do these things even though they go against other people's ideals of tradition, because, holy shit, my enemy is crazy strong.
Yeah.
I am one man, so I need better tools. It's the same kind of principles.
Yeah.
Also, by the way, another fun fact I learned because I was double-checking some stuff. I'm, like, 99% certain that, the character that makes up Jin's given name is the same as the character for compassion, which is one of the values of Bushido, which also heavily, heavily exemplifies his character. It's not anachronistic at all, but that's also, I'm like, totally, like, I realized that the other day. I was like, oh yeah, no, that's totally intentional. They named it for compassion. That is definitely his, like, I would argue his almost fatal flaw, is that he actually cares about saving people and things and all that more than he cares about necessarily his honor or looking correct or doing the right or honorable thing, right?
Yep.
If it means to save lives, there is nothing Jin Sakai is not willing to do. But the group in L5R that does most of that shady shit on a regular basis are the Scorpion, which has me thinking thoughts, thinking things, pondering, because no plans yet. I still have to finish it out. Though I will say my latest batch of thinking about it, because Celestial Realms is getting close to coming out in PDF form. It's already out physically. I've seen some previews. A lot of the schools and rules seem really, really cool, so super excited for that. But, oh, and also I should shout out to people who care about L5R who listen to this podcast, of which there's some of you. Be sure to go to Fantasy Flight's website. They do this for all the adventures they release. they release a little DLC supplement which gives you additional adventures. So they released that for the adventure that came with Celestial Realms. It actually comes with player options in it as well as a free download, including 2 new schools, which people might find interesting. I can talk about them another time if people are interested, but it's just a little thing I wanted to throw out because I don't know how many people know, because it's not like they announced that it had extra player options. They just said that there was a free thing available that goes with the adventure, which might be a thing that only GMs look at because you might think there's like secrets in there, of which there are some, but there's still some player stuff in the back. But the somebody's talking about setting your sword on fire. There's not explicit rules to do that mundanely. There are absolutely that is literally a fire invocation. It's called Biting Steel. You make your sword become more fiery. You can also literally make a sword of fire. That's another invocation, Katana of Fire. You can spend opportunities to make it look like other weapons, but its default shape is a katana.
Sword!
Yes. I've been thinking about this because I did I was a little bit of mad lad last week. I can share it with other people, but I did kind of a basic technique compendium because it's very important to know all the techniques, and they're scattered all across a lot of books. I noticed some themes. Fire invocations are almost all about dealing damage. Either they directly deal damage or they buff your damage dealing capability. There are some utility functions, but generally it's like, so I'm going to cast Biting Steel, so my sword does more damage, or I'll cast Katana of Fire, so I have a weapon that deals damage, or I'll cast The Flames Within, and I'll just shoot fire at people.
Fire!
That'll be really interesting to see, because I know that Celestial Realms, because it is a book focused on spiritual realms and magic, will have a lot more invocations in it, so I kind of want to see if the themes persist, or if they branch out into more weird things. Because I love the weird shit. Air ring spells, air ring invocations are usually a lot of utility. They have a lot of mobility and illusions, but they also have stuff like the invocation Nature's Touch, which is to speak to animals. You can just chat with animals. It's like a rank 1 invocation, a basic, first level spell.
Oh shit, do I have enough chips to get on? Oh, I do. Holy shit. Okay, nice.
Oh, you doing some chip stuff?
Yeah, no, keep talking. I'll talk.
We'll talk about Arknights later. I got some stuff to talk about too.
Yeah.
It was just, commenting, keeping you in the loop. But yeah, so that's building up, and I'm interested in again, so I've been tracking that stuff. But it's got me thinking because, I'm not ready to start it yet. I got a couple of big adventures to do. And I think I started telling the story, but I was going to mention that I actually only just thought of what I think the big climax to the campaign is going to be on this latest run of thinking about it. Because I had a series of, I've talked about this before, my campaign idea is very, very episodic, almost very anime-esque. It's going to be uniting a bunch of people together, and then they're going to do a series of tasks. And there will probably be character-driven episodes where, people will develop their own subplots and stuff, because I like that. But I can't pre-write those.
Nope.
So I'm just going to keep in mind that there will be times when I will be freewheeling sessions based on what players want to do. That makes a great downtime session. Oh, golly gee willikers, Mr. GM, we've just, gone on an epic quest where we had to, kill people we thought were our friends, or rescue peasants from horrible raping and pillaging bandits, or, shake our very core of our being. We really just want to have a Hot Springs episode. I'm like, okay, cool. Fine. It's perfectly on point. We can do role-playing. I like those little things. But I didn't necessarily know exactly what I wanted to do for a big finish, but now I do. I'll talk about it maybe some other time. But yeah, it's just, I was like, oh yeah, no, this works as a perfect capstone to this thing I'm writing. But I've got a couple more to work on. But I'm thinking about this because, especially with the way Ghosts of Tsushima is, and, a lot of those tactics and stuff, because I've mentioned this before, and you've mentioned it too, I've got at least a couple of players, maybe, in my group, and I also probably at some point have to narrow down who actually wants to play, because I feel like there's a lot of people, and there might be too many people, which would be unfortunate, but I would probably have to, narrow that down to, maybe 6 or 7 tops, and I think I've got, 8 or 9. And even then, 6 or 7 is a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot of work. I want minimum 4 for, and ideally probably 5 for, aesthetic reasons, but I can probably stretch that because there are 7 great clans, I could stretch 7 to a thematic number. Mm-hmm. That would just very much have to involve a lot of herding of cats, and I would have to make it understood to the players, and if some of my potential future players are out there listening, pay attention to this part. It would also mean you'd have to accept that sometimes the GM has to be like, shh, 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 shh. Just gently put my finger and be like, wait a tick, I need to talk to somebody else right now, because you've been doing stuff for a while.
Yes.
That's, when you have big groups, that's a thing your GM has to do of, unless you have players who deliberately sit in the background, you need to cycle through the players in the ensemble cast. And even then, it's funny because Loth plays his character very true. He is a very generic clone trooper. But even then, I will still throw hooks out to him, and sometimes he bites, and sometimes he's just like, yeah, no, okay, cool. It's like narrowing eyes. You had a very much eye narrowing when you threw out an interpersonal role playing hook, and he didn't bite. Yeah, and I was like, yeah, you threw it to the wrong guy.
I did.
Boots is not the character who asks questions. But I've got a couple of players who are interested in playing Scorpion.
Lucky's one of them.
Yes, because I think I've even talked about some of the themes of the Scorpion, which sold you on them. The Scorpion are very interesting in L5R. Every clan, especially in this current edition of the role-playing game, has tenets of Bushido they favor, and ones they disfavor. For example, I talked about the Crab earlier, the great clan that governs over the Haruma. Their favorite tenet of Bushido is courage. Facing down great foes, impossible odds, and doing your duty even though it will be painful, kind of thing, right? Like, and there's some notes about courage. Courage isn't just going, I can fight 10 dudes. It's like, when you realize you actually do have to fight 10 dudes, and you're like, I will fight these 10 dudes anyway, because it is proper, kind of stuff. Like, you get rewards for sacrifices for courage. Your honor score increases when you're like, oh, is that a big scary Oni man over there? I'll fight him. Even though that's really dumb, I'll fight him, because we must fight things. That is our job. So the Crab value courage, and they disfavor courtesy, which, honestly, I should probably pull up the book so I can talk about this more. Courtesy is about formal etiquette, but it's also about kind of... All of these tenets usually have a couple of different aspects. So courtesy is about not only actually being courteous, like following the rules of etiquette, proper address, but also about almost niceness, politeness, like proper politeness, like truly not being an asshole to people. Let me pull up the core book. I think it gives an example, like an example sacrifice of courtesy is like letting your opponent take his weapons even though he's disarmed before fighting him. Like, you run into your rival, and he's like, he doesn't have his swords on him. You're like, hey, you should go get those. We can't have a fight unless you got your swords. Yeah, so the quote is about, like, not being cruel, courteous even to your enemies. So it's about, like, not only proper etiquette, but also respect. Mm-hmm. So the Crab disvalue courtesy because they don't go for all that fancy pants etiquette stuff. They have a job, they're gonna do it, and all this extra stuff just gets in the way. Mm-hmm. They are all about living that 3 feet from death, which, by the way, the 3 feet from death is how long a katana is. That's the reference there. You are a katana length from death at all times. Also, fun fact about social distancing, if you're within swords reach of someone, you're too close. I think a fencing team advertised about it being a perfect sport for quarantine because you wear a mask, and everybody should stay at social distance, and if they get too close, you get to stab them. But yeah, so that's like the Crab thing. So the Scorpion, their key tenet is duty and loyalty. They're the same thing. Like the word means both duty and loyalty. You know, they understand what they do. So the quote says in the book says, for the samurai, having done something or said something, they know that they own that thing. They are responsible for it and all the consequences that follow. A samurai is intensely loyal to those in their care. To those they are responsible for, they remain fiercely true. So that is what the Scorpion embody. They value loyalty the most. They hate people who are actual traitors and actually disloyal. They have some special shenanigans for them that most people don't know about. I don't know if I want to get too much into the lore right now, but there's, if people know what the Traitor's Grove is, they know what I'm talking about. But where the Scorpion put their duty and loyalty is usually to the Empire and to the Scorpion clan, which means they can often clash with people. If you are, in normal circumstances, if you are a Scorpion character, either in fiction or you're playing one, you probably have loyalty to some Scorpion Lord somewhere, and if a Scorpion Lord tells you, betray your friends, it's important to us, you're supposed to go, oh, well, here I go killing again. But because of how they project this, that can be troublesome in role-playing, because one, you don't want to be an asshole. You probably don't want to betray your fellow player characters, because that does a whole thing in the campaign, and it's a huge pain in the ass for everybody. But also, generally, I've heard at least a lot of stories that other players and player characters generally intrinsically distrust the Scorpion and don't make it a betrayal because they never trusted them anyway, which is not fun for the Scorpion man, because you get socially ostracized, basically. Because the thing that the Scorpion disvalue is honor and sincerity. And sincerity is not just honesty, but honesty is a part of it. So Scorpion don't really care institutionally if they lie, and they don't necessarily care about the exact inherent nature of honor. And it's about 50-50. Scorpion characters either have the philosophy that honor is dumb, honor's silly, and they just realize that it's a silly fake thing and that there's no point in engaging it, or they think honor is cool, but they understand that sometimes people need to not do honor in order for honor to survive, and they will do that. It's been described that the Scorpion clan are a heavy mix of Machiavelli's The Prince. They have a lot of Machiavellian themes. Stuff like it's better be feared than loved and all that, etc. Kind of things. But also they are heavily inspired by, what's the phrase? Professional wrestling.
Heels.
Yes, they're heels. They're and especially they were written in the 90s. They're from the era of classic heels. Like classic 90s edgy kind of stuff. I don't know a lot about wrestling, but I know a decent enough amount of the terminology to talk about it.
Axe proving that he wasn't listening to Omega earlier when he literally talked about this.
Yeah, I talked about some other stuff. I would say Shimura could probably... He sounds like the Lion Clan who value honor and tradition most of all. And compassion, guess what, is their weakest. The Lion believe that only the honorable and righteous deserve compassion, which means they're kind of assholes sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But at the very least, you can generally... Most of them. They have their own asshole Han Solo family. It's great. I love the Akoma, but I also hate them. That is the thing you will very quickly run into, is that usually almost every clan has a family or a sect inside their families that does something slightly different than the way that everybody else does, but because they are part of a kind of an interconnected kingdom of these families, they kind of all pretend they work together perfectly. But, so yeah, I was saying that, like, as a Scorpion, you may be playing a heel role and be like, oh, I'll do the dirty work so you don't have to. Or you may just be like, honor's for chumps.
I would definitely be the first of those. It's like, honor, it's not for everybody. But
I was going to say that the thing that works best for role-playing is, because they talk about this, Scorpion love loyalty. Scorpions are great friends. And honestly, most of them are actually pretty loyal until the point where they're ordered by somebody higher up, and then it becomes kind of a contest of loyalties.
Mm-hmm.
And you're supposed to be loyal to the clan of the Empire first, but that's a very common theme that some Scorpion get overambitious. They judge what was good for the Empire wrongly. Because I think I told you this, but I'll remind the audience. The Scorpion clan are defined by the parable of the Scorpion and the Frog. But in the Rokugan version, the story ends with the Scorpion saying, "Little frog, I can swim." So it ends with the moral being slightly different. The actual idea of why that story is told and kind of shaped the ethos of the Scorpion clan founder is that the idea was that the Scorpion was able to get something done because he appeared weak. He looked like he couldn't swim, so he was able to convince the frog to let him on his back and could sting him. You know, the whole thing is kind of a trick. Some Scorpions take that wrong as just like, oh, I can swim, I can survive all this harshness, the real world, by being pragmatic and self-serving. It's not really about that, though. So Scorpion often struggle with this kind of, like, ambition thing. But like you were saying, that makes a much better player character to be that kind of deliberately playing the heel role and be like, oh, I can get stuff done, if you don't ask me how I do it, and I can be helpful.
That's the kind of way I want to do it, is just like, people need something done that offends them. It's like, they call on me. It's like, you need someone to disappear? You need someone to have a bad time? Maybe need something off the grid?
And a lot of the Scorpion Clan schools and the Scorpion Clan abilities are really good at that.
Yep.
Yes, the Scorpion have literal ninja-type shinobi, but most player characters are probably not going to be shinobi because in the lore, shinobi are like full-blown shinobi, like you were trained in a completely secret dojo and are a literal pajama-wearing assassin. They are hidden. They are effectively cast as criminals. They are in the non-person's caste. So if you're a samurai who gets trained as a full and proper shinobi, you have to give up all your samurai-ness. You give up all your titles, your name, your everything. You disappear and become a full-time shinobi. That can make it awkward for player characters who don't want to do this intense, like, full-blown double life shit, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So usually if you play a Scorpion who has the Shinobi tag on his school, you have received some ninjutsu training, because ninjutsu is not honorable, but you're not necessarily full-blown pajama wearing, you're just willing to do dirty tricks to get shit done. Honestly, I think for you, probably the Bayushi Bushi school, Bayushi Death Dealer, would probably work, because that lets you do cool fighting stuff, but also has pocket shinobi training.
I actually need to look at the Scorpion stuff, because while I have the stuff, I haven't actually put any thought into actually building a character.
Well, yeah, and I'm not putting a rush on anybody for it. Yeah, but if you guys, because I love the way the game does character building through the 20 questions, I would totally do that as an audio session 0.
Yeah.
So I don't mind if people aren't prepped beforehand, but a little bit of pre-reading is good. So we have to cut down on especially like I said, if we might get a lot of people in this game, it would cut down on the faff time of Omega has to explain every player's lore to them for their character. I heartily recommend, by the way, I recommend the physical version the most, because that has extra lore inserts in the back, but the novella, let me see, I believe it is titled, because I keep them all here. Let me see, hold on. It's Whispers of Shadow and Steel. That is the Scorpion novella that deals very strongly with Scorpion stuff, and talks a lot about their shinobi lore and even some of their clan secrets. That would probably work. Literally, I believe the first question in the 20 questions is, what clan are you? That's your basic level. Hey, what's your clan? And I will probably allow minor clans, because minor clans are smaller, specialized clans who are kind of formed in unusual ways. They're not as cool as great clans because they don't have as much land, but sometimes they make interesting character archetypes. I will allow them if they're thematic, but in general, we're probably, just because they're the most famous and the most supported, we'll probably do a lot of great clan stuff, as they're called. Could probably allow Imperial families too, but those are weird because they're really close to the throne. It creates a literal disconnect, because there's one of the scores in the game, one of the social stats in the game is status, right? Your objective social ranking. Imperial characters, don't check the wiki, because if you check an L5R wiki, you're probably checking the fandom wiki, and that's got all the old canon stuff in it, so it doesn't count anymore. It's great for research into lore stuff classically, but it's not good as a source for the RPG right now. I would let everybody know what my preferred schools list is, because I have one, but it's also always expanding. But yeah, I was just saying that Imperial families literally have a status score that is higher than everybody else, so it's weird. Yeah, I can post it to you another time. I posted it before. I'll bring it up some other time, because it's gonna have several more entries once Celestial Realms actually drops. Like I said, I've seen some pictures of some of those schools, and they look really interesting and fun. But yeah, so the 20 questions is a thing I want to do. So I don't necessarily mind if people have pre-prepped their answers, because that helps. But I also am not okay, don't necessarily go whole hog on making your character and backstory and everything, but concepts are good. So yeah, I recommend the novella for Lucky and for anybody interested in the Scorpion clan. It's a really good intro, and all of the novellas are really, really well written so far. I ordered the crab one because it came out recently. I'm not super excited because I haven't been super quiet about this, I don't think, but so the crab usually have stuff that involves the Shadowlands and the Taint of Jigoku. I honestly kind of don't like the way that the Taint is treated in a lot of the fiction. Because it's a pretty bog standard corruption effect, right? Mm-hmm. If you touch tainted stuff, you deal with tainted magics or whatever, which is called Maho, bad magic, blood magic even. You can become corrupted, and this can mean that you can arise. If your corpse is tainted when you die, you can rise as a zombie. That kind of stuff. You get access to unnatural powers. You might accidentally trade your name to an Oni, who are basically Oni are probably closer to the classical Japanese design, where they are. While they can appear as huge, horrible ogres, they much more nebulous spirits of evil energy, right? Mm-hmm. Well, it is a Shinto's type thing. It is the corruption of Jigoku. It arises from bad acts and bad stuff. But yes, it definitely was originally written a little bit more Warhammery. Because it's a thing that in lore, getting rid of the taint is impossible, ultimately. It's supposed to, unless you die. You can only be purged of the taint if your soul dies and goes to the afterlife without completely falling to corruption. There's no real way. Well, it's about stagnation too, right? It arises from the taint and Kansen, evil elemental kami, can arise from those kinds of things. There's a long metaphysical explanation for why the taint of Jigoku, right, arises though. But yes, original Jigoku was very, very much like Christian demons and hell ethos. The new edition is doing that better. The original canon had a large problem where fucking everything was Jigoku. Oh, everything's a taint. Every evil spirit, taint. They're tainted. They're they've been touched by Jigoku and Fulang, the evil kami. I'm like, all right, calm down. Because that's not how it works in Japan, right? Like, not every supernatural thing is like a literal demon. It is usually just, there's weird supernatural shit, bub. There's fucking yokais and spirits out there, dude.
Some are friendly, some are not.
Which this edition of L5R is much better at. Yeah, there's just weird shit out there. Like, no, there's no context. It's not a spoiler. In the Dragon novella, which I love a lot, the focal point character goes into the woods and runs into somebody who is on the verge of becoming a mountain witch. She has spent so long in the wilderness away from people, she is in danger of losing her humanity and becoming basically a yokai, but she is not tainted. At any point is she referred to as being tainted or anything like that. So it's just like, no, supernatural shit just happens. But so I'm a little sketchy on the crab themes because a lot of people, I've talked about this before, a lot of people have what is called premise rejection. They think, Rokugan are big dumb dummies for whatever reasons. Either the characters are written stupid, which, to be fair, it was the 90s. A lot of characters were dumb, yes. And God forbid you wanted to find a strong female character, but that's a different discussion. That's perfectly solved now.
What were you saying would be good for me? For the character I wanted to play?
The Bayushi Death Dealer School. It's in Courts of Stone.
Courts of Stone, okay.
Yes. They added it later. To some people's consternation, the Scorpion did not have a Bushi, a warrior school in the core book, which was a little weird.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at stuff. I'm seeing Courtier and Shinobi. I'm like, wait a minute.
Yes, you could also play a Shosuro Infiltrator, and because they are very good at combat, you can totally pretend to be a Bushi, but they are very much the outright ninja-y type school.
Yeah, no,
the Bayushi Death Dealer could be a black pajama murderer, but they're much more likely to kill someone accidentally during a duel or, punch a guy out in a dark alley than just put on their full black pajama rig, but they still get a lot of useful ninjutsu techniques and kind of stuff.
I don't even have Courts of Stone. Heck.
I have all my copies of the PDF uploaded to my Google Drive. I can probably link it to you.
Yeah, we'll do that later.
Yeah. Because I buy all the PDFs, because I reward FFG for actually publishing the PDFs, and I'm not paying double the price for hard copies, because those are a lot harder to share with my friends on the internet. I'm not opposed to the hard copies. I'd love to buy them someday because they're fucking beautiful.
I have the main book in hard copy.
Yeah, you have the core book yourself.
But like I said, I'm looking at the PDF right now.
Yeah, because we're doing the show across the internet. It's a lot easier to Control F and stuff. But yeah, so I'm kind of sketchy on some of the crab themes because I don't like the way that the taint's been handled in the past. And honestly, in my own campaign, while it does deal with a lot of supernatural themes, and even some Maho stuff, outright dealing with the Shadowlands and the Taint of Jigoku is a little bit lower and a little bit. I'm assuming the way the Shadowlands were originally written was to kind of exemplify, because the Shadowlands campaign is that's one of the iconic games that L5R is known for. The Shadowlands campaign is a meat grinder. You will all die or be corrupted, or die and be corrupted, etc. Right? Write 3 character sheets because you're gonna go through 2 of them before the night's over, kind of shit, right?
Oh god.
Which means that the rules were traditionally very brutal, and a lot of people even said that the rules are too soft in this edition. I don't think I agree, because I feel like being tainted should, while obviously there should be a little bit of risk and a little bit of inevitability of corruption, I think that should definitely, for player characters, be a player choice to be like, nah dog, I'm gonna be corrupt. Like, I'm literally going to sell my soul or whatever to get powers out of it and whatnot. And occasionally you can have a bad turn and be cursed or something by running into some bad juju. I don't know enough about Nioh to say how intense or grindy it is. The Shadowlands are literally evil, though. They are, like I said, they are basically hell on Earth. There is an actual, honest-to-God hellhole. There's a portal to hell. Long ago in Rokugan's history, some guys fell from the sky, and one of them hit the ground so hard he punched into hell. That's the short version. I will probably tell more full versions of the myth once we get closer to actually doing the game and actually tell it to the players. But anyway, so literally the essence of Jigoku, of the realm of hell, the lowest realm of punishment, is leaking out into Ningendo, the realm of humans. And Onis and bad spirits just come out of it. So the Shadowlands has lots of evil spirits, Kansen, bad ghosts, bad elemental spirits who inhabit everything. And in the Shadowlands book, there's literally a book for this edition called Shadowlands. Talk about the Shadowlands a lot. They talk about how there are, don't drink any water once you're in the Shadowlands. It's probably poisoned. And there are several springs of water which, will literally, burn you, scald you, etc. The air is, hot and gross. Sometimes the trees will try and kill you. It's a real bad time. So it's still very much a meat grinder, but I would probably avoid that because that's not the story I'm trying to tell. There can still be bad juju, full-blown capital E evil magic, but I want to approach it in slightly different ways, and I definitely want it to be, like I said, talking about personal sacrifice and thing, I want it to be a player's choice to be I think to accomplish my goals and my personal desires, I will dip into blood magic, sure. I want that to be the player to go, oh, I want to do this thing knowing that it's really fucking over my character to do it kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And knowing that if it ever gets outed that you practice blood magic, literally everyone, including all your friends, will be honor-bound to stab you.
Stabs.
And burn your corpse. Actually, Rokugan, I believe, practices cremation mostly anyway. One, because it's more historically accurate. Also, hey, burned up corpses can't become zombos.
Great how that works.
Yeah. Fucking zombos.
Fucking zombos.
But yeah, my campaign will be probably slightly more spiritually oriented, but we'll definitely have opportunities for plenty of mundane politicking, mundane fighting people. But also, I've talked about this. I'm a huge weeb. I love the little touch of spiritual stuff and how you can just be like, oh yeah, no, there's just some weird spirit shit or magic shit involved. Curses, other kinds of nebulous stuff. Actually, this is a really fun thing to talk about in the game. They have different advantages and disadvantages, right? One of which are called blessings and curses, of the major fortunes, the lucky gods.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they're called curses, but they could also be perfectly mundane. Say you've got Kishoten's curse. Kishoten is the fortune of marriage and children, right? I think Lucky just muted, by the way, because I heard his mic scratch. But I'll tell the story. So hypothetically, say you're cursed by Kishoten, the fortune of children. The mechanical and narrative effect of that is that children don't like you, and you're bad at interacting with children, and if you have any children, they will not be overly blessed. They will not necessarily be super pretty smart kids, and will probably hate your fucking guts. Now, that could literally be that you have angered the fortune of children, and she's personally pissed off at you and has cursed you. Or, maybe you're just bad with kids. To Rokugan, they're the same thing. And they might literally be the same thing, but I love that ambiguity where it could be, oh, I'm literally cursed, or, nah, I'm just bad with kids. It can work out the same way. So it's got a lot of that little touch of oh, this could be completely supernatural, could be completely mundane, or could be somewhere in between. And that's the kind of thing I like. So yeah, I've had a lot of those thoughts thinking about groups and group dynamics. I have some plans that I'll talk about, like I said, once this gets more kind of congealed to get everybody together and make sure at least everybody has a base amount of trust.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is definitely a campaign that is not. There are campaigns of L5R, which can be almost competitive, right? Because you can be representing different clans, and you're all in the scenario, and you all probably know each other, but you're working towards your own goals. I probably don't want to especially do that as my first campaign, but I probably don't want to do that right away because that's not the style of campaign I'm super interested in. I love the kind of Eastern style fantasy kind of thing, something more like Princess Mononoke, or even what I've seen of stuff like Thunderbolt Fantasy, Oh, and by the way, if you guys get to high levels, you can totally do some literal Thunderbolt Fantasy shit. It's listed as an inspiration. I think I've mentioned this before. One of the Kiho, the key techniques, which are usually reserved for monks and certain spiritualists, is literally called Way of the Edgeless Blade.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which, by the way, it allows you to turn your unarmed weapons and your improvised weapons into weapons that are deadlier than swords.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, it's very high-level technique, but it's pretty brutal. Oh, hey, I've got a cooking pan that's as deadly as a katana. Actually, probably deadlier, because it's your ranks in your martial arts skill, which are kind of, classic FFG Star Wars or Genesis style. So you go from 1 to 5, and then your ranks in your Void Ring, your Ring of Void, which is kind of like one of your core stats. So you're probably rocking a damage 10, deadliness 10 weapon.
Sounds really wild.
I mean, I don't know enough about... Here's the thing, Axe. You're asking about specific stuff, and I'm like, I don't necessarily know these references you're making. You talked earlier about, I think, talking about sword dancing. There wouldn't be sword dancing, per se, as a Rokugani thing. I don't think that's even a Japanese thing, per se. But you could definitely do katas and martial techniques as a performance.
Yep. I was actually looking for a video of a swords master who was, like, in the sitting position, put his sword down, then threw the sheath back, grabbed the sword, and did 2 cuts, like, super fucking fast. I was like...
Yeah, and that's the high rank bullshit you can do.
I was looking for the video, but I can't fucking find it.
I'm sure you'll be able to eventually. But yeah, so that was kind of my thoughts about how to get all that stuff. Well, I will tell you this. This is explicitly pointed out because in Courts of Stone you can purchase a sword cane or modify a sword to fit in a cane. This is explicitly called out as a breach of Bushido. Because you are concealing a weapon, a very important and symbolic weapon, in something. You're not supposed to do that. Not to say that you can't do some of those dirty tricks, but I'm just like, that would definitely be like a thing people would notice. Like, you don't just, in Rokugan, you don't just openly carry a sword king. It's like, why the fuck aren't you carrying your sword, dude? That's like a thing for Ronin and Shinobi and kind of stuff, and like, oh, I'm on the DL. And maybe you could even make a sword into a sword cane as like an art project, but you would never carry it around and use it in battle unless you really had to.
I found it. Yay. I'm going to retweet it, though, before I forget.
Alright, well, I'll check out that video later then with the retweet. The only other thing I was thinking about with my game, though, was I had it structured. I did all the high-level structure, and I'm just filling in the details now. And I'm, like I said, I stopped writing it openly. One, because of the pandemic and stuff, L5R production kind of slowed down, so there was less stuff to be interested in. But also because they explicitly said they were posting a book called Celestial Realms, which is out physically now. I've talked about it. But it was about the Phoenix Clan, who picture very heavily in some of the high-level backstory stuff of my campaign. And it's also literally about spiritual realms and supernatural entities and how those all relate to each other. And I'm like, well, shit, I kind of need this book to give me more inspiration and also to maybe give me some rules and stuff to hammer out, what I'm working on. So, I've been kind of waiting for that book. And also I'm glad because it looks like it's got some really interesting, sweet schools in it and stuff that'll be on theme. But one thing I've noticed is that, and I'm thinking about what I want to do about it, if anything, because the way I've got it structured now, there's a lot of symbolic themes. I've got a certain number of, like I said, episodes, basically, episodic content, and some of which are very light, so they could possibly be, like, reworked. But I've noticed that generally this is going to be maybe, some people call this kind of thing a gazetteer campaign, right? Where you're traveling around a lot. You'll see a lot of different places. Because that's one thing you can do. You can go all over the place in a setting. And this is not just true of L5R, it's true of a lot of games. You might go everywhere, or you might just settle in somewhere small. Like some people have run games centered on running particular castles, provinces, towns, etc. So I would definitely be the more traveling kind in this campaign. Mm-hmm. So I've interacted with most of the major clans, at least tangentially, and some of the minor clans. But I've realized now that as I'm rereading my notes and everything, and figuring out where my climax is and stuff, I've kind of realized that there are a couple of the great clans who I haven't necessarily focused on. You might run into characters of that clan, and you might go to their lands a little bit or be tangentially, but there's not really big episodes that are themed on a couple of clans, which is really interesting to me. Especially because one of them is the Dragon Clan, which I am very fond of for a lot of reasons. They are, however, very remote and in the north and in the mountains, so it kind of makes sense, maybe. The others are the Lion Clan. There's some touchstones on Lion Clan territory, but there's nothing really super related to their culture. So today, I've been thinking that to myself, like, do I want to write some new stuff or move some stuff around? And I don't know yet. Like, that could be up to certain characters, right? Like, if we had a dragon character or a lion character, that could mean their own side quests and sub-stories would kind of bring those clans in, or not. But it's a thing I think about of like, oh, well, I've realized, I've got these themes going on. Do I want to complete the whole thing? Do I want to make it a tour of everywhere? Or do I want to stick to the stories I found interesting and that grabbed me to begin with, kind of thing? So I don't know for sure yet. I will keep thinking about it because, like I said, I'm not full blown back to working on writing it anyway because I'm hoping for more detail about stuff in an upcoming source book. Boy, I talked a lot. How long have you been gone? I was about 40 minutes on that, I think.
You've been really into talking about L5R and Ghosts of Tsushima, so I'm just letting you go.
Yeah, well, I think I talked about this with Ghosts of Tsushima, that it would definitely put me in that L5R mindset, and it did. So I'm riding a big wave right now.
Yep.
So do we want to talk about Gacha for a little bit? We alluded to it earlier. I think I'm done hitting all my L5R bullet points.
Yeah.
Okie doke. Did I plug my phone in earlier? I did. Okay. I took a break. While we were talking, I was farming Arknights, and I got top Ptilopsis, or is it just Ptilopsis?
I think it's Ptilopsis.
Yeah, I think it's a silent P. I got her costume, and so I'm like almost done with the point ladder, and then I got to go back and watch the stories because I haven't done that yet.
Oof.
That's fine. I just didn't, working on a lot of stuff. Didn't have time necessarily to go see them yet. I'm sure they're interesting. I gotta be honest. These style of events are weird, where they're just like, and here's a couple maps, and here's some stories. Sometimes, I kind of appreciate how low impact they are, but it's also kind of like, it's still kind of like, oh well, I have to, remember to pop over and check out these story segments or whatever.
No, that's the one thing that kills me is they don't just save them. You have to read them in the event time, otherwise they just disappear fucking forever. There's no like archive of of backstory, because I'm gonna say I really enjoy these backstories. I really do. Like, they're really good. They give you a lot of information. They give you character history, backstory, all that good stuff. But if you miss them, they're gone. They're just fucking gone. I'm just like, what? Like, I finished mine like a couple days ago, so I got to read them all on, and I was actually talking about one of them while we were playing yesterday. Like,
you described Dobermans.
Yeah.
Oh, and it looks like Panda Penguin's saying that might be a feature they add later.
Oh, okay.
Sounds like they did that for first anniversary. They added a story log. That'll be good.
Yeah.
But for now, it doesn't exist, so. But yeah, I'm sure I'll enjoy them if I go back to them. I just haven't had time yet.
Yeah. Lucky will say, though, a lot of people say it was kind of a bait banner, but I fucking bit it. I got on that hook. But there was a Scotty and Siege raid up, and Lucky spent $40. I got me another Siege. I got me 2 Ptilopsises and another Texas, and I'm just all like, oh, and a Province. I got a Province there. I keep forgetting Province is a 5-star.
Yep. She's in the store right now.
Yep.
Which is, once again, another gold search shop I don't care about. Because I bought Siege last time she was up.
Mm-hmm. But, like, yeah, I spent $40 because I bought the monthly pass, and then I think I spent like another $15 to fully use out the originum I had. But no Scotty, and I'm just like, I got a lot of good stuff though, so I feel like I can't be mad.
Arkanites is the ultimate I can't be mad game. I don't think I said that yet. Yeah, I think that happened between last show, but I got enough for another 10 pull on the current banner, COB, and the other one, Lazy, or probably Lazy or something. Yeah. Hey, I got another 6-star. It was Aya Fiala.
Oh.
So that's cool, but not on rate up. Arkanites, the ultimate spooky game.
It is a very spooky game.
Can't even be mad.
Can't even be mad. Like, right now, I'm playing Arkanites right now along with Yugioh, and I'm working on getting Nightingale to E2 because AoE healers are great, and Perfumer would definitely like a friend. Mm-hmm. Might be using her in my Annie 3 map, which I redid it, and I was finally able to get it up to past 375. Like, I think I was at like 390, I want to say. Mm-hmm. But like, I had some people slip through earlier, and
yeah, just getting to enemy like 390 or whatever isn't the whole thing, because you have to actually kill everybody on the way up.
Yeah. Because the big heavy metal guys, they can stun your, like, the problem I'm having is they're stunning my operators, and then people just walk on through my defenders when they're stunned. I'm like, shit. And people were right. Ifrit does make a fucking difference. Holy shit, that girl just nukes everything. Jesus.
Yeah, I got one to work on. What's your Ifrit rated at right now?
My Ifrit is, let me pull up operators, rarity.
Because I've done some more E2s, and I'm sure you might have done too. But I don't know if I mentioned it, but I posted about it, that I did E2 Amiya before. And I have just recently E2'd Neural. Got him a fucking White Horse Coals. Not sure who's next on my list. I need to actually like check out my comps and see some stuff. And I probably need to level my backlog, because I got like probably need to E1 Aya Fiala and Angelina, who I got recently, the 6s.
Yeah, my Ifrit is E2 level 50. She's currently ranked 7 with her skills, and I have her on her 2. Her second skill.
Alright, I will keep
is terrifying. Let's see here. But yeah, like I said, I think the only person I've really done before this is I E2 my Siege. So now I just like how one of the lions just has its paw on her head, just like, there. Because Siege's E2 is just, there's 3 fucking lions with tactical gear, and I'm just like...
Yeah, just her gang are apparently literally lions.
But let's see here. Yeah, so... Haven't worked on COB yet. So yeah, I'm I got all the materials for Nightingale. I have her chips cooking in the furnace.
Good
She's
old
only
chips.
Yep. She's 75 out of 80 right now.
That's
and
honestly not that far. You just got to make sure to spend the time, do the things.
Yeah, I know, but like I said, I'm trying to. Here's the thing. The thing that I think makes me real upset about Arknight sometimes is, despite you only having limited access to the money-making map, even when you do have access to it, you're not getting that much.
No, you got to spend a lot. Like right now, because you can also get ladder points, because you get ladder points on basically everything except Annie. That's arguably better. It's like when they do half AP and FGO. It's like, oh, you're getting multiple things for one run, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's cool and all, but yeah, you're right. In general, especially with the way the fact that you can only access certain maps on certain days, except EXPs, which you don't even need to though, because you can make fucking EXPs. Constantly shitting out rank 3 EXPs all the time. Have nothing better to do. But
let me see here.
It's definitely a little weird sometimes. Like the LMD hole is deep, and there's no easy way to dig out.
Let's see, divided by 7,500. Yeah, from starting from 0, I have to make fucking 24 runs of the LMD to get enough to E2. And considering how much you get and how much sanity you have per day, that'll take you over a fucking week.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not a week. Maybe let's see here. I can't math super quick.
But still, it's a lot.
It would still take you a week because you would have to because they read the days that you just couldn't fucking do it. Yeah. So I'm just like That's what I like about FGO. It's even if it costs you 40 AP, it's always fucking there.
Yeah, in some form.
Yeah.
I would also say another. Now, admittedly, Arknights does have alternate ways to make LMD, but all of that's time sensitive. You can churn out gold for days and just sell them, but those are both on base-based cooldown timers. So I usually let them run all day, and the first thing I do when I log in, because you get daily missions this way, is then I pop up in my base, I collect all my gold and EXPs, all my VHS tapes, and I, then go sell them all off. And sometimes I don't have enough gold to do all my missions, and other times I'm like, oh shit, I've still got 50 gold after I've done 2 stores worth of sales. We've talked about this before, it's very swingy, right?
Yeah.
You will go for days, even weeks, where you're like, I'm full of money, and then you're like, okay, alright, no, I've decided I need to E2 somebody, or at least, push somebody up to max level E1 or whatever, or I want to level some skills, then you're fucking broke. You've got nothing. Yep. You're done.
By the way, Panda, I have 228 permits just sitting there. I don't know how many I need, because apparently what they're doing is
yeah, they're activating recruitment pity.
Yeah.
So you can get a free 5-star?
Yeah, I think it's Indra or Vulcan.
Yeah, it's not retroactive, which is sad. They should have done that retro, but yeah. I've already got Vulcan, so that's going to be a free Indra. I recruit frequently. I don't have enough permits set up now, but you can only burn through them so fast unless you're just going to blitz through all your instant recruit permits as well, so yeah. It probably won't take me that long to go through 300, though.
I'm pretty sure if I upgrade my office and I could get that 4th permit, I could do something, because...
Oh, yeah, I already have that already. I've got 4 slots.
I
usually only use 3 at a time, because that's the number of missions. Because, you don't want to necessarily have no recruit permits, just for this exact situation, for instance. But, you can definitely burn through them lickety-split. That's a fun thing, though. That'll be great. I'll get Indra, finally. Mm-hmm. Who is, a recruitment-exclusive 5-star, along with Vulcan.
Probably why they're having this pity system, honestly.
Yes, probably why they have a lot of these things. Arknights is usually pretty generous with units. It's just that, you gotta wait a while for things to work out, and they usually try. We've seen, 2 Scotty raid-ups in 6 months, and she's still permanent, Neon will come back, even though she's limited, right?
Yeah.
I think they have eventually... They eventually had a rerun of Grani? I can't remember. They talked about it, but I don't know if it actually happened. Did that actually happen? Not yet. Okay. But it's speculated, right? Yeah. They've said they're going to do it or something? We have a lot of people who are way more... Okay, they've rerun Summer, at least. They have done reruns. We have a lot of people who are way more plugged into the pulse of Arknights than I am. So it's hard to remember some of this stuff, me.
What do you mean, Metal Tyrannic Kingdom? Scotty is now.
Yeah, the banner's right now.
Oh, Skin Hoop. Okay.
Oh, Skin. I know about that. I got... How did they say it earlier? I think it was tea applesauce. That's also not accurate, but it's closer.
Who?
Ptilopsis. Yeah. Who I do own, by the way. I have quite a few 5-star healers. I don't think I got the... Is Nightingale the only 6-star healer? There's still a lot of limited, not very big 6-stars that I don't know. I don't... No, it's Shining is the 6-star. Ah, fuck, I can't remember. If units I don't have, it's very hard for me to remember what they do and what they are.
No, that's fair.
If I have a unit, Shining and Nightingale, okay. So it was both those things I said. I don't have either of those yet. Just rocking my 5-stars. And actually, mostly rocking my 4-stars because Myrrh and Perfumer are great. But I do have good old Silence, too. Because drone healing is also great. That's like having 4 healers. I mean, that often happens with Arcanite's decks. You know, you'll get Shrieky, you'll get stuff. It's very rando.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we're moving on with that. We're doing stuff.
Like I said, like, I made 5-10 pools for Scotty, got a Siege, but I literally did a single pool on this Yobi banner and got her, and I'm just like,
Stuff is weird.
Yeah, so Arcanite's still fun. I'm playing it. Omega's playing it. Azur Lane doing
I'm logged in right now. I'm debating whether I want to actually do the thing, because it's like, do map runs, isn't it?
Lucky cheated. Lucky fucking cheated.
You just built, didn't you? Yeah. Well, I'm thinking about doing the same thing. I don't know.
Like you said, because here's the thing. It's not an event, so it only costs you 1 cube. I only did the build because I needed to hit my weekly run. I was like, I'll just do them all at once. Whatever. I need, 6 more? Alright, cool. And I got 2 Hardies. I still don't have Z2, but I hear she's a drop, and I'm like, I can work on that a little bit.
I have 70 cubes. Fuck it, I'll spend 10. I'll spend at least 10 and see how I feel. Because we've talked about this before, I hate these fucking, do this map 60 billion times! I hate those.
Yeah.
They did give us Hunter for free, which is cute.
You gotta do the thing. Very Bloodborne. You have to put her in your team and, have her fight the boss, though, to get the double points, which makes me upset.
Also, actually, this is a good question. I should double check because I don't know. Hunter is actually mine, right? She's not temporary?
No, she's temporary.
Fuck.
She's an NPC.
I hate you. Azur Lane, why? I slap at you. I spit at you.
Yeah, you're supposed to... They're doing the thing where you have to collect friendship points, and once you get, 1,000 friendship points, then she's permanent.
I don't know if I care enough anymore. Literally, these events are the fucking worst. I hate them. I don't want to reward Azur Lane for doing them. They suck. Have more originality, you fucks. You siphoned enough of my wallet.
Yes, more originality. So yes, just put them on a banner that you have to spend cubes on. Yes, clearly, that is more original.
Well, I meant more about the event thing, right? I wish they would do more dynamic events that are actual events than just, and do the thing. Oh, we gave you this unit, but you don't actually get this unit. But they give me free crap units all the time, literally once a month. I don't. Like I said, I don't understand the logic of doing this style of event. I don't think anybody likes them. I assume they do it just because they need to buy time between doing big events with 50 billion new units who have live 2D and whatnot. But it frustrates me. And again, like I said, I suddenly don't know if I give enough of a fuck. How much my dock space is currently at? I'm probably getting close to having too many slots. Right. Yeah, I'm at 315 of 320. Let me see if I got any dupes in here. I don't have any cubes right now, and I'm not going to get more anytime soon. Or not cubes, gems. I got 24.
Well,
what am I doing?
Lucky doesn't necessarily think these are bad events. They're time intensive, but they're pretty much what they are. They're basically, fuck, I'm trying to think of a good term for it. It's something to keep you invested in the game when there's generally nothing going on.
I get what they're for. Like I said, they're buying time, but I hate the way they choose to buy time because they could casually get you much more invested and make you logging in and not do it like we said with this style where you have like I said, you have these kind of half events or whatever where you've got very limited point pulls and stuff, right? You have to they're very grindy, and most events in Azur Lane have a grind potentially. They've got a point shop or they've got points ladders, but oftentimes aren't necessarily exclusive. I know I've dodged a couple of shops by getting a unit on drop, for instance, or getting them out of construction. I just, like I said, I don't like the repetitive nature of these, and I don't like how they're we don't actually have any high level event for you to do. You just need to beat this boss 50 times. I'm fuck, just don't though. I don't really, for them, I don't really, other than time, I guess, I don't really get what they get out of it. Like, what do they get out of making me grind for Hunter, who is blue? You know, she's a rare unit. Why do I have to go through all that, and why isn't she just, you know, like a monthly reward? They still do those, right? Like, I haven't missed that. I think I fucked up my login last week, and last month, and I don't know if I got the thing, but I don't know if I care, because I gotta be honest, I don't think any of those ships have ever been good, nor have their designs necessarily been super great. It's just why a lot of the time. Ghost Frontline does the same thing, and I'm like, but why though?
Yeah, I can't understand the fucking free ship monthly, but I'm guessing it's because they want to give people ships without having to.
I mean, I guess it's like a pure free-to-play type thing, but also Azur Lane doesn't really... You can buy cubes with gems, but that's like a Giga Whale strat.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, and there's no necessarily direct premium currency. It's weird. I guess I get what they're going for, but it's still very...
No, it's still super fucking grindy. Like, even on, like, the low 10, you still need to do the map, like, because it's not that you had, like... I think one of them was actually really fucking bad, where you only had, like, 4 or 5 days to do it. That one,
and they fucked it up, because they misreported the time.
Yeah, so everyone was like, no, fuck that. But normally, you're supposed to have, like, a week or some time to do that. So if you, like, dedicate, like, if you actually, you know... What I honestly think they're trying to do is getting you to invest more time in the game and get more involvement in it. Because, like, as long as you do, like, I want to say, like, a little bit, because you need to do more than a little bit, but as long as you put, like, a moderate effort in every day, you should be able to get those 60.
Well, here's the thing. When did this event start? Was it several days ago?
Yeah.
I failed to put in effort.
Yeah.
So I'm probably fucked, because most of this stuff, like I said, there's a false sense of urgency that Azur Lane doesn't communicate to me, I think. It's like, oh, like, okay,
well,
was I supposed to care about that? Fuck, shit.
Well, that's your playstyle. It's like, if you don't feel like it's urgent, you don't do it. You just say, fuck it, get it out of my life. That is definitely a you thing, Omega. Where
I mean, it is true, but also, I didn't notice she was an NPC only or anything. That's not like, there's no flashing red sign that's like for FGO, it's a little annoying, but whenever you summon a temporary servant, there's a fucking pop-up that's like, yo dog, temporary servants.
Are you kidding me, Omega? When you log in, it literally pops up and it says NPC on her sprite.
I mean, it says it in her little corner, but where is that? That's, I'm not looking at that. Like I said, FGO opens a dialogue window and makes you look at it. Like, it's like, hey, the servant is temporary. There's no excuse. Because, and we've talked about this, we know plenty of people who don't, not just me, who, like, don't necessarily look at all corners of everything all the time. Like, I'm not looking out for the little NPC tag. And yes, when you open up your dock, yes, she chops to the FOP and has an NPC in there. But if I'm just casually doing my daily logins, I'm not necessarily going to look in dock right away, am I? Do people look in their dock every day? All the time? I don't. Why would I? I only look at my dock when I'm limit breaking somebody, which is unfortunate, or leveling them. Actually, no, not even leveling.
I mean, I look at event details to know what I have to do. Like...
Well, and that's definitely a thing we've talked about. You are somehow give much more of a fuck about Azur Lane than I do. Like, you're able to, and maybe it's because you were using multiple devices or whatever sooner. Not necessarily emulation, but you had, like, multiple devices to do multiple things.
But, like, let me say.
But that's definitely very much a you thing, where, like, you definitely, like, pay attention. I got so much stuff going on with, like, all the other stuff, and then Azur Lane's like,
And that's the thing I'm trying to get at is, like, I'm probably a little bit more invested in Azur Lane and the ships and getting everything done than you are. I'm not necessarily saying that's a bad thing on you, but like I said, you are quite more even like, no, I don't care about this, move on, do something else with your time.
Well, I mean, I would care about it, but like we said, it's punishing me for not caring more at the beginning, and I have to look at myself and go, God, do I give enough of a shit about Hunter to actually put in extra time to do it because these events suck and are awful? And honestly, I think I don't. I'm never going to use Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, she's cute, but I literally have 313, because I had 2 spares. I literally have 313 ships, most of whom I don't use. Because Omega has not yet had to unlock any commons or rares and just throw them away. Or anything. So yeah, it's very much I don't know. Like we said, we do approach this game differently, and that's okay. Like, that's not everybody has to approach it the same. I do feel like Azur Lane definitely has some weird times where, and other gacha games have this too, other phone games too, where they at times, they really try to grab your attention, right?
No, Azur Lane is completely right now trying to demand your time. That is 100% what they're trying to do. They're like, hey, play our game right now. If you play our game, we give you stuff.
And I'm gonna assume that's because they've done right now they're doing a limited shops and limited skins and furniture sets are coming back. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming that's why they're trying to make you play. None of that would work on me right now because I'm literally spending too much money on other hobbies, and I'm like, no, I need to buy less Azur Lane skins, or I need to buy less lucky bags at least. It might actually be more economical if I just bought skins directly instead of going the full $30 on the lucky bag every time. And I've skipped a couple of the past lucky bags. Most recent one. Yeah,
but like I said, we definitely do approach it, but I would definitely agree that these things are definitely made to make you grind and invest time. And for some people, they can't invest that time, or they just don't have interest. And so these things are just all like,
honestly, I'd probably be more open to investing the time if it also did other shit. This is the thing we're talking about, like with Arknights and the only sometimes you can grind money. It's not a lot, right? Like, only grind for money in Arknights because you have to, right?
Yeah. Well, no, they kind of did that in Azur Lane with the fucking anniversary thing. You got fucking those currency tickets doing anything. So
that was good. Like, that was a really good thing. And they're like in some of their priority, like the PR catch-up stuff, those are all over the place, right?
Yeah.
Doing event stuff, doing research, doing dailies. But at the same time, I mean, I guess there's still some EXP grinding, but there's challenge mode, but there's not hard mode. So I don't think in this. I'm looking at the SP map right now. I see challenge mode that's locked. I don't see a hard mode.
No, it's probably not. It's probably just the prologue and the 3 maps.
So, yeah, I can't really grind PR ship stuff and do this, right? Because I'm not going to get a lot of EXP out of non-hard mode maps. I know this. No. So it's one of those things where I feel like I'm not accomplishing more, and like you said, you definitely were right when you said that Omega's very good at I will not succeed at this or nothing will come at this. I'll just cut it out now. I won't bother.
Yep.
Because that's my usual response to things, and I'm like, oh, this is not going to go well. I'll just skip it.
And Lucky is kind of the opposite. Sometimes I'm behind, I'm like, it is time to fucking motherfucking double down.
And sometimes that definitely bites you in the ass.
Yes, it does.
Both ways have their own risks. Yeah. But this type of Azur Lane event definitely has kind of the thing where it's like, to me, it's like, oh gosh, I wish I could get more done with it, because I really don't want to just grind for something. I can at least do the maps and see how many clears I can do, because I open it up anyway, but...
Well, if you do at least get the base clears, you get the base rewards, which is never bad.
I need to get the friendship points. That means I gotta put her in a fucking formation. That's another thing I don't like about what they do with the way they do temp ships. Mm-hmm. You have to put them in your fleet.
I literally stuck her in one of my Ironblood fleets, and they are just literally carrying her.
Oh, I'm sure. I'll stick her in my HMS fleet. She can replace Little Bell, right? Can we actually do that, game? Can we confirm? Thank you. Jiminy. Also, can I put her in my dorm while she's still temp? Is that a thing? I forget. It's been a while since they did a temporary ship.
Wait, did I buy the fucking... I did. Good job, Lucky. When did you buy this? Who fucking knows? I'm looking at FGO. I was looking at the Man Imprisonment Rare Prison shops. Like, did I buy the things? And Lucky says, like, yes, he bought the things.
You probably bought them on instinct when you weren't looking.
That's how Lucky do. Lucky likes to say, he doesn't necessarily know what he's doing. He just does it, and it works.
Yep.
It
does not look like I can put temporary Hunter in my dorm so she can passively gain EXP. Cool story game. I'll say, obviously some of this is my own personal style. I do think there are some things they could do to make this easier. Oh yeah, because somebody just brought up in chat, oh, she does have to survive to do the extra thing.
Yep.
That would be a lot easier if you could passively level her. They could make this system a little easier, but she gets to ride on with a big, strong, big girl fleet, so we'll see.
And
we'll see what happens.
Nightingale is now 80. Now that means I just have to wait for the chips and do 24 fucking LMD runs. Probably end up being more like 15 when I get my cash from fucking turning gold into money.
Is this deliberate? Do I have to park in this zone?
For what?
Sorry, I'm doing movement and I got this artillery bombardment thing. Oh, is there some kind of... There it is.
Yeah, no, there's in these maps there are defense stations, and you'll see like the little red lines.
Yeah, I'm
with,
seeing
like,
that they're forcing me to stop in them.
Yeah, no. If you basically get adjacent to one of the cannons, though, you will fire your own zombie and destroy it. So what you usually do is because if they hit you, they do a little bit of damage and they'll reduce your ship's movement by 1. So you need to find the blank spot that won't let you get shot and destroy the defensive placements one by one. Which, now that I think about it, really sucks because that really slows down your gameplay.
Yeah, no, I just did it, and it definitely was kind of rough. And they were designed so that you could not just cross them.
Yeah.
That's okay. Nobody's really hurt in this, probably because it's percentage based. So, no, the one fleet did get shot, but they're not really hurt. So I'm gonna assume that it did.
It's as I said, it's a slowdown tactic. It reduces your speed by 1. So
yeah. Again, talking about Azur Lane makes weird decisions when they want your stuff. It's very interesting to see how Azur Lane operates a lot of the time. We've talked about this, right? Like how horny they are, right? Like make a big effort of sex sells and stuff. You know.
Their previews always like focus on the ass and hips and the tits.
Like literally, they will have zoom ins on the chest, thigh, rear area. You know, chest, hips, thighs, kind of thing. They will have cutouts and they will show you expressions that you might ask questions about, kind of stuff. They know it works. They're selling fucking titty and ass mouse pads, all that stuff.
If you grind down the threat level to 0 for a map, they don't show up anymore. Well, I guess that's good for clearing, especially when you're doing 60.
That is very good for clears. Yes.
Yeah. Like I said, like I said, as much as they want you to grind, they do sometimes.
Yes, they usually do reward you for actually doing the grind. It takes you a little bit first. Okay, I see. All right, so I'm actually doing SP1, and there's actual ships on this map plus the cannons. Okay, I see.
Oh yeah, Prologue was just telling you, hey, there is a mechanic here.
Well, luckily I was talking to somebody when I did it, because if I was doing it on my own, I probably would have been doing other stuff, and I would have just unga-bunga'd it.
Yeah. I'm lucky he's not gonna lie. He totally unga-bunga.
No, and Azur Lane is normally very unga-bunga. Like, it's very rare that maps actually have strategery to them. Some to the point where they get a little too hard. Like, Girls Frontline had this problem, or has this problem sometimes still. Like, I had this problem with, what was the last event? It was like a month ago, so I don't remember. Something weird. Isomer? Was it Isomer event?
It sounds like Isomer. I didn't play it. I haven't played fucking Girls Frontline since June.
I haven't logged into Girls Frontline yet this month, but I do occasionally still log in. I'm definitely starting to feel like I'm comfortable not playing that game so much anymore. I feel kind of bad because I like the aesthetics and I like the story, but the like we said, the gameplay part's just a lot of work. Because that's the thing. Girls Frontline would totally overcomplicate its maps to make them harder for no reason. Like, Isomer literally had a hard mode. Even in easy mode, some of the map clears to do all the like farming for the lottos and stuff were just so insanely complex, so many moves that even with pre-planning, it was like, this will take me literally hours to do my 10 box runs a day. Like, maybe not hours, but like an hour, because you have to like do really, really long looping courses. And I'm like, there's no easy way to do this. Why would you make them this way? To suck up your time and make you play the game. Girls Frontline, I think we talked about this before. Apparently, Girls Frontline has a very strong kind of like try-hard or competitive community almost that like and they encouraged it with like their medal system and stuff. So it's like, it's a little weird to see sometimes, but I'm definitely more relaxed on Girls Frontline. If I do drop Girls Frontline freely, maybe I can finally start playing Onmyoji, which is an Onmyoji themed game. Who knew? Which is also available on Steam. It's also on PC, and I've looked at it before, but I'm like, I got time for this, even if it's got the aesthetics. But I could try it out sometime, and I'll report back. But some other time, because now I play emulator games on my PC. Yay, BlueStacks. But yeah, there are some of these games, and Arknights sometimes has, like, they have what I call rude maps, right? Where they're just like, oh, we have a gimmick that's just really mean. But usually Arknights does have actual, like, it's a fucking tower defense type game. There's actual, like, strategery to a lot of it and stuff. So I don't usually feel that bad. And most of the time, other than story progression, which even then, story progression you can usually work at. Some of them are a little RNG heavy, but if you can, at least, you can eventually Unga Bunga, kind of.
Yeah, that's what I did. Like, a lot of people were talking about at the end of, what was it, Chapter 4? With Frost Nova, how they had a fucking hard time. I completed that map.
Well, this thing, Frost Nova is pure RNG.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah, and lucky I guess got good on that because I did my practice, completed it, and then I was like, okay, so it's random. Then my actual practice
I think I did a couple of setups and I looked at some videos to get a feel of what people were doing, but since it's random, you can't guarantee anything, so I only had to do it a couple of times before I got a good pattern, and I was already way over leveled for it. But
I think that's probably what it was. I was probably over leveled.
Well, that's the thing. It's Frost Nova as a boss is definitely the kind of thing where it's like, oh, if the pattern is good for you and you know what you're doing, you're perfectly fine. If she decides to fuck you, it doesn't matter how strong you are, you're just fucked. She blows up a bad tile and you're like, well, this just fucks my entire strategy. Right? Like, yeah. And I think that's the point where Frost Nova's not hard per se, she's just basically tricky.
Mm-hmm.
Trixie. So that's more the type of thing that Arc Knights does, where it will introduce enemies who have kind of nasty effects or do interesting things, or kind of the way they handle bosses are actually usually all about strategy, because bosses usually don't bum rush your gate. That's a thing. No, they walk around. Specific. Yeah, bosses wander around like
I remember the Rat King. The Rat King and
yeah, the Rat King was a big one.
He walked around your map, but he would do a thing where he attack your enemy with like the highest HP, but also a different attack for someone with the lowest HP, and he would just hit you from wherever.
Yes, and you had to do some kind of strats to set up your healing and stuff. Yep. I'm also remembering the what did they call it? The lava slug in Obsidian Festival. I forgot her name, but the king of the lava slugs. That one circled around the map, went away for a while, came back, and like would really fuck your shit up with AoE dot attacks, but if you planned correctly, you could kind of predict out the map and you could wait them out. And also, I just rubbed some Silver Ash on it.
Yeah, no, like, usually when you look at preview the map, it'll be like, yeah, the boss is going to take this route.
Yeah, the boss is going to fuck around. Pompeii, was it? Yeah. You can kind of figure out what's going on, what's her face? Not W, Crown Slayer. The classic Crown Slayer bully trick, right? Like, Crown Slayer has a very specific pattern and very specific tricks, and you can easily shenanigans her. So there's a lot of these little tricks. Arc Knights very rarely gets overly complex with its tricks. I feel like sometimes, most of the time, Azur Lane doesn't even bother, right? Like they just do. You've got normal mode, you got hard mode, and you got super fuck off hard challenge mode for your tryhards. Those people who have all max 120 level ships and have for like 6 months. Here you go. Here's something you can check out. But occasionally when they do try to make you do strategic stuff, sometimes it's a little like, what? Huh? What's going on?
Mm-hmm.
That's always an interesting thing to see, because arguably, Azur Lane's not really supposed to be a tactical game. Like, it has that kind of almost like high-level tac grid kind of look to it in the map. But honestly, most of the time, your strategic positioning is pointless. Like, unless there is a map hazard, it usually doesn't matter. Like, there are some units which chase you, and you can kind of, like, think about that kind of strat, right? But normally it doesn't actually matter.
No.
The actual gameplay is a shmup.
Yep, shmup. I don't remember the last time I've done a map on manual. I really don't.
I think when I was farming gems so I could get a thing in the last set of skins, I manualed a boss because I wasn't sure my guys could do it auto. Because I was beating story maps. I'm still somewhere in 9. Should probably move on to chapter 10. I think that's a milestone for something. I'd unlock something. But I have to apparently grind event maps.
Yeah, again, this is one thing I definitely do not like, is I never feel the point that we actually need to have events going all the fucking time.
Yeah, Azur Lane doesn't really have good break weeks. Like, literally, This is a break week, but it's not, because you're supposed to be doing the event map.
Yep. And I think after this we might have... I think we have something planned after this gets done. Probably? I can't remember.
I think Panda said that we don't know for sure what's next up in the list, but I don't know. It's Azur Lane doesn't really do breaks. That's something that I will say Girls Frontline does do a lot, is they will often take big breaks between big content drops.
Yeah, Arc Knights does that too a lot too. It's just like
Arc Knights will do like a week of oh yeah, you can do all this stuff.
Yeah. Okay, maybe I didn't hear that we were doing something after this, but
I think it's because they haven't announced something yet that people are like, what's happening next? Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, do we want to round out our holy trinity of other gacha? Do you want to talk about Destiny Child?
Yeah, I guess I could talk about Destiny Child for a little bit. Right now, we just got done with the Tamamo World boss. Lucky placed pretty well. I think I placed, 29th percentile? Because that's how they rank things. But depending on how much damage you do overall to the world boss, you get a ranking, and you get rewards based on that ranking. I think I made it to the 29th for this whole season. I made it to the 29th percentile, which is okay. That means I am within the top 30% of players. So like technically, I did more damage. Out of 10 players, I did more damage than 7 of them. So that's neat. That's neat. Destiny's Child is very interesting in the fact that usually they always have an event going on, but the way that they do the event, it's never really intrusive. Like talking about they have two raid type bosses. One's called Ragnarok, one's called World Boss. I know I've explained this again, but I'm gonna explain a little bit more so you get what I'm talking about. When you're doing Ragnarok bosses and world bosses, you actually have a separate counter. You have raid points that you can use. You might know that from FGO, like when we did Rashomon and whatnot. They have that counter. So there's raid points you can do that can burn that up, and then you still have your regular stamina on the side to go do other things. This is also helped by the fact that a lot of your side activities don't actually take stamina. Like when you do Underworld, the Underworld maps, which is something that you that just gets you like free stuff, that doesn't take any stamina. You can only do it once though per day, and you can only go through the map once per day. When you do your event maps for like gold evolution materials and level up materials, that doesn't take stamina either. But you can only do them each 3 times per day, every day. Same with Rebirth Dungeon. PvP has its own ticket system, all that stuff. So a lot of the times your stamina is left alone for you to do stuff. And Destiny Child is very generous in giving you stamina just for whatever. Like, you do Rebirth Dungeon, you'll get stamina for completing so many rides. You get stamina as rewards. You can get stamina as random gifts and the friend point gacha. Like, I remember at one point, I went from like my standard 300 to like 3,000 stamina, and I was like, oh, okay, I better spend this on something. And luckily, what we're doing now in the event is what's known as a narrative dungeon. A narrative dungeon is technically an event map where you do have to spend stamina, but and that's okay because when you do the dungeon, you get like a little ticker thing that gives you the event points that you can spend on a lotto box that can give you stuff like stamina, onyx, all that crazy stuff, blood gem, CEs. Well, excuse me, soul cartas, which are basically CEs, and stuff. But like I said, this is one of the few times that you're actually dipping into your own stamina pool. But so it's usually good. What the pro strat is to do is to during world bosses and Ragnar breaks is to store up your stamina, and then when the narrative dungeon again, to spend it all on that. Because normally what most people would spend stamina on elsewhere is basically just doing leveling runs. But as I said, there's a lot of ways that you can level up your child without actually having to spend stamina on it. So, like I said, Destiny Child has this really nice spread of things going for it. It's this really strange balance, but I enjoy it. So yeah, we're right now in the narrative dungeon for the child, Thisbe. Super cute. I said I wasn't gonna roll because they're coming out with a Medusa as a world boss, which I think is in the next rotation. It's a black hair long girl with a giant back dragon tattoo. I'm like, this is dangerous. I want this. But unfortunately, Lucky has this horrible, horrible thing about if something is cute, he wants it, and he makes poor decisions surrounding it. So I did roll for Thisbe, and I got a +1 Thisbe, so I got 2 Thisbes in total. There's going to be another one in the reroll shop, and hopefully I can save up some stuff, so maybe I can get some Medusa or something later. Yeah, actually, you said, hey, let me see if I can find a picture of the Medusa. Actually, yeah, I can probably find a picture on Destiny's Child. I'll post it. Because accessing the Dragon Lady archetype or the Yakuza King Power are a weakness. I'm like, no, she's pretty much that. Let me see. Game launcher.
The power of danger. Should have called it Danger Child.
No, that's pretty on point. Oh, God.
I'll make it just is muttering things quietly as he does event maps in Azur Lane. I mean, Lucky let me talk for a while, so I'm perfectly quiet, just sitting back, letting him explain stuff while I do my own stuff, too. It's part of our dynamic.
But, because this is the thing I really do enjoy about Destiny Child, is they let you know what events are coming, like a month or two in advance.
Yes. And not like how FGO, because you know what was in JP, you know exactly what the schedule is kind of shit. But, or, I assume probably not the way that, actually, you just said it, they let you know, like, months in advance. It's not like how we know what's coming up for, like, Arknights or Azur Lane, because JP gets something, like, a week before us.
No, like,
literally, I think I've seen this, because I was looking for images of their version of Tomoe. Literally, they have a schedule posted.
Yeah. Let's see here, where is it? Oh, yeah, they call it Lisa's upcoming schedule calendar. Let's see here. Yeah, no, they tell you what's happening up. They're telling me what's happening up until October 20th, and they tell you when the maintenance days are gonna be, and stuff. Let me see here. Yeah, I'll take a quick picture.
The joys of pre-planning.
Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. Oh, that's why. Yeah, I'm gonna take a snapshot. Yosh. Then we go to Discord on my phone. Then we open phone. We go to Patreon chat. I'm gonna hit the picture button.
By the way, if you're wondering why he's going to Patreon chat, or even what Patreon chat is, yes, we have a secret chat for patrons in our Discord. Our Discord is not Patreon only, which I know some people do, which I feel like would be too small most of the time, but whatever. Yeah. Do your own thing, Maybe you want to be small.
So if you open it up, Patreon chat. Oh, yeah. So you open it up, it shows us, like, all the, like, what the events and how long they'll last. They have, like, also events and community events on the side, too. But yeah, guys, you can see, Thisbe, she's the girl with the bouquet. That's where we're at right now. You can tell the girl right underneath her, starting September 17th to the 29th, is going to be the New World boss Medusa, who's dark. And like I said, she has long black hair, red glasses, and a big old dragon tattoo on the back.
Yep, it's pretty cool. And then after that, they've even got for October.
Yep, they let you see the girls, see their design, and give you like they don't let you know like what her classes, like attack or defend or whatever, but it lets you know what elements, so you can start prepping ahead of time, maybe strats to deal with them. So, like, this is one of the things I really like about Destiny Challenge. Like, yes, let me know in advance what I might have to do.
Right.
And it's Medusa. Just try looking up, like, Destiny Child Medusa. That's probably your best bet. Like I said, Medusa.
I'm sure they got her.
Yeah, like, again, like, you don't necessarily see Destiny Child making waves, like, on Twitter and whatnot.
It's probably too horny.
It's probably too horny. It's, like, probably why you don't see a lot of Last Origin stuff, too. Unless you're, like...
Yeah, well, no, because... we've talked about this. Last Origin's even more horny than Destiny Child.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, they were doing a campaign, Destiny Child, to up their. Like, this is like another one of those things where I'm like, yeah, no, Destiny Child doesn't get a lot of. Like they're doing a campaign to get their Twitter bigger. Yeah, like because right now they own I'm just checking it. They only have for their global version. They only have 7,691 followers. That's like when you're thinking about Twitter Gacha games, that's not that big.
No, that's probably not that large. Yeah.
Let me see what our Azur Lane EN has 194,300 followers.
Yep.
So I'm constantly shocked. Oh, she has a sword too. Nice,
big sword.
Big sword.
But again, you're shocked about. I'm assuming
I'm shocked about it because the game's really good, the art's really nice, the story's really funny, and a lot of things are really well balanced. So again, I'm really surprised that a lot of people don't play this game.
It's probably because I'm gonna guess it doesn't have. Let me think. What are games that got big have? FGO obviously was a franchise, Fate, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of those other ones. I don't actually know how Epic 7 got so big. I know they have money because I've been seeing their ads on YouTube a lot lately for 5 seconds. It's kind of annoying. Not as annoying as some of the original Arknights ads, I will say. But the 5-second unskippable clips are kind of repetitive. But yes, let's see. So I don't know. That's just anime-esque, but Destiny's Child is also kind of that way, at least with the art style. I don't know. I know that Azur Lane kind of and Girls Frontline kind of had the like we said the art design mecha musume kind of thing. The Girls Frontline girls are guns, the Azur Lane girls are ships. Actually, I don't know if because obviously you're usually testing it out and showing it off when we play the show. I don't think I've ever really I don't think I've ever heard the game. Does Destiny Child have VA?
Yeah, no, they have Japanese voice actors. The only problem is they're in the VA's names are in Japanese, so I can't quite place them. I'm like, I'm looking at the
But
content.
still, they probably have Japanese VO, so that's, you've probably got some people in it. I know a lot of people do the thing. It's it's weird.
It's super
maybe
weird.
they just didn't get a what you call it, like a media buy-in. I don't know. Maybe it's because they're Korean originally.
Yeah, I'm starting to think it's that last one because it's originally a Korean game, and like I said, I don't think it's made the rounds necessarily. Another thing that might have something to do with it is it's kind of hard to stream because it's a vertical game.
Only.
Yeah, it's vertical only. So that doesn't play nice a lot of times with stream setups because, like, when Lucky streams, he basically uses the horizontal and fills up the whole screen.
I don't think YouTube or Twitch ever really conquered that aspect of mobile streaming. I don't like. There have been mobile streaming services who used to do that visual style. What was that? It came and went. There was a phone streaming service that was like temporary, that was like vertical style, that I think somebody bought and killed, basically.
Yeah.
I don't remember it at all.
I don't know.
But there were those kinds of surfaces and styles, but those are not mainline streamers, like you said. The vertical style doesn't necessarily get on, and they haven't been supported. The games that we know that do a lot of the good are either entirely playable on PC, some of them have PC ports, or they are, what would that be? They're horizontal. What's the version of that on paper? Is that landscape style? I think that is. That's something I don't think a lot of people are going to get. Hey, so when you're printing a page on your computer printer with paper, that's something people used to do. You had to pick portrait or landscape style. I believe landscape is Longwise.
Yes.
So there's a fun one. Very fun blast from the past. Also, that icon you used to save, that's a floppy disk. And my parents were always slow to adopt new tech, so I actually had computers that used floppies. I used to play old-ass computer games like Commander Keen and the original Duke Nukem on a fucking DOS machine we had, which I think... So, I'm pretty sure it didn't die, but I think we thought it died and we threw it out, and I'm still upset. I could be playing Duke Nukem right now. Back when Duke Nukem was a lot more ironic. Fun fact, in the original, Duke Nukem he wanted to defeat his evil villain so he could get home and watch Oprah.
Duke Nukem was great back in the day.
Yeah, that got a little weird.
Yeah, a little weird.
Oh shoot, somebody drawing a live twin. Sorry, there's a new Yu-Gi-Oh! Archetype they just previewed that's very panty and stocking, and I'm all about it.
Oh, Live Twin, yeah, I saw you talking about it.
That. Live Twin / Evil Twin is their Phantom Thief version. They're fiend types. They're great. And also, I've realized that I'll fucking call it the Yu-Gi-Oh! Community. They don't watch us anyway. As evidenced by the fact that some of my Edo Pro videos have been getting less views. People say they don't do stuff or they're bad. I think somebody even replied to me, you're fucking wrong. I've played them. They do stuff. You guys just have a weird fucking mental illness about what's good because you're so used to dealing with cancerous assholes who play games ultra competitively. Very tryhard. Like, okay, I mean, so a certain amount of tryhardedness is expected, right? And trying to play good. But some people take this really hard, and there have been some bad cards that are just too good that have since been banned. That's what Yu-Gi-Oh! Does. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is very, very low on erratas, very heavy on having an active ban list. If they make a card that's too strong, usually because it came out of the anime, but not always, they will usually ban it or reduce your numbers, or they will ban part of the combo that makes it good. Like, for instance, a lot of people are probably talking about Red Eyes Dragoon, who just came out. He's cool. He's a fusion of Dark Magician and Red Eyes Black Dragon. Super neat. But he's got some very powerful abilities, and because you can shenanigans him out with not Dark Magician and Red Eyes Black Dragon, there are some concerns that he's going to become meta, which he probably will. They're probably not going to ban him, because he's been in exclusive tins and stuff, and he's super cool, and they want people to buy him. But what they'll probably do is they'll probably ban those generic components that make it easier to summon him outside of dedicated Red Eyes or Dark Magician decks, just because that's the thing they're after. But I've played it. No, you can absolutely turn one every time. You can fucking turbo out their boss monster. It's not hard. It's just that they don't have Omni protection, because I'm assuming it's because they're supposed to come back from the graveyard. People in the chat will get what I mean. But they're also not complete. I don't know. I've noticed this watching a couple people who do YouTube videos about Yu-Gi-Oh! They have a very warped sense of what bad is. And sometimes I just won't put up with it. I'll be just like, no, I'm fucking done with your video. Because they're like, blah, blah, blah. is bad. I'm like, I'm sorry, have you played old... Here's the thing. I remember Caveman Yu-Gi-Oh! I remember cards that didn't do fucking anything, right? I remember jank-ass cards that did weird stuff. If you have a card that does a thing consistently, that's great. That's a huge improvement considering the game's been out, 20-ish years almost?
I want to say so, yeah.
Something like that, yeah. It's like... It's... Even the Synchro era was still... There was some jank in there. So I just think that unfortunately a lot of people get way too much into the competitive ultra modern mindset, and they think too much about, well, this doesn't, punch your opponent in the nuts and flip them a bird at the same time. It's not good. No, it still does something. This is the thing all game design needs to think about. Because, like I said, trust me, I have tried to make old ass jank deck and gimmick decks work. Sometimes they don't do stuff. Okay. So yeah, it's a real thing where stuff no do goo. So Evil Twins actually do stuff. Magistus does stuff. The Mecha Dragon archetype Drytron they came out with, that one I'm not as fun. Oh yeah, I remember the dark days. But no, I'm gonna buy packs, and I'm gonna double buy packs because people say no, don't buy waifu archetypes. Fuck you, I'm gonna support the product.
If Omega said, Lucky, I need you to buy a type, Lucky would go all in on Dragon Maids, and he wouldn't give a fuck whether it was good or not.
No, and I have some of those. The only thing that's occasionally dodgy is I think Dragon Maids are very expensive because it's entirely possible that Konami of America may have short-printed some of those cards, so they're more rare than they should be.
Oh, no.
Which they do occasionally. I bought a whole pack, and I got quite a few of some Dragon Maids, and absolutely none of others, but I've got a few at least. It was pretty decent. That's my first unboxing video, by the way. My first YouTube Yu-Gi-Oh! One was opening up Mystic Fighters, which was the Dragon Maid set. And I got much less Dragon Maids than I did Jinzos or other shit like Math Mechs or other stuff. Well, okay, they're talking about rarity. Yes, they are high. They are quote unquote higher rarity. That's also a lie because they're in an all foil pack. So normally, Lucky, you probably understand this. Normally, foil cards are a higher rarity.
Yep.
Trading card packs are basically gacha if you've never played trading card games. If you buy a pack of Yu-Gi-Oh cards, I think you get 9 these days in a standard pack, or 7. One of them will be a higher rarity. I think they're up to super rare. They're minimum a foil card in every pack. But There's only one foil, the rest are commons, which means they are actually common. I've done some regular booster pack openings and got 4 or 5 copies in a whole box worth of them, which is 24 packs of certain common cards. And they have no additional embossing. But Dragon Maids were mostly printed in a all-foil pack, so the card packs are smaller. They have a smaller card pool, but they're all, at minimum, quote-unquote, super rare. So you open a pack of 5 cards, 4 of them are quote-unquote super rare. They're not that rare. I do think that does mean, though, that people in the community can artificially inflate their price because they're like, ooh, this is a secret rare. It's got a special foil on it. I'm like, it's not actually that rare. I've got 2 or 3 of those at home, Mm-hmm. It'll be interesting to... Reprints are always an interesting thing with Yu-Gi-Oh! It'd be very interesting to see if they reprint. I think we're in an interesting time with the game because the current anime is about an alternate style of game, which they sell in Japan that is not available over here. It's not currently licensed. Either the new version of the game, Rush Duel, or the Anime 7s are not currently actively licensed, I think, over here. They haven't filed a trademark or anything. So, it's very interesting to see how the card game goes, because at least some of the card game is usually influenced by what's going on in the current anime stuff. The anime have introduced all the new mechanics over the years, like Synchro, Xyz, Pendulum, Links, etc. So it's very interesting to see that this current anime season, they might backport some of this to the core game, but most of it's for the Rush format, which is completely different. So it's very interesting to see them kind of let the game evolve on its own. That's not to say, though, that they don't cash in on nostalgia all the fucking time. There's a set coming out soon. I think it's at the end of this month or is it in October? But it's called Wrath of Ra. It's all themed about it's a series of booster pack themed about a lot of villains from the early seasons, with Merrick Ishtar and the Winged Dragon of Ra being the featured on the pack. So they know all about that nostalgia bait. But yeah, sorry, I went on a tangent because I saw a fucking live twin art. But I honestly, we've talked about this with meta in Gacha and other games, right?
Yeah.
Meta gets us a little spice sometimes, because there are some people who get so narrow in their focus and they state these objective truths. Oh, blah 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 is bad. I'm like, that's really fucking annoying, because that's not true. I've had this complaint about some L5R things. Like, some people said some schools were quote-unquote bad. That's why I started my mostly on hiatus Enter the Dojo series, because I was like, what the fuck are you people smoking? This school isn't bad. It does stuff. Again, I don't know. Maybe some people are so used to not having this bad experience with RPGs, with card games, with other things where you have something that, or even gacha games, that just doesn't do things you want it to do, or doesn't do anything even. Like, there are a lot of games that have that problem with filler. We just talked about Azur Lane for quite a while about how we don't know why they give you monthly ships, really, because they're not really anything special. Like, their designs aren't excessively creative, their stats and skills are usually unimpressive. I guess it's because you need some, like we said, some pack filler, but and it helps free-to-plays, obviously, because that's a free unit that you get for logging in. But there are totally lots of games that have absolute filler units, and, like, things that's something that really bothers me when people, like, don't look at their tactical tools.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I interrupted you a little bit when you were talking about Destiny Child, and we were ogling Medusa. Did you have anything else you wanted to say about that?
No, not really.
Okay. This is Omega's GM strats, by the way. He remembers when he diverted other people from the conversation and to circle back.
Yep. No. Lucky was just gapping at that point because I basically mentioned everything I wanted to.
Right,
like I said,
he's
stuff. Yep. I'm gearing up for Medusa, but that's about it. And I think that's it for gacha games.
We did mention for about 240. What did we mention earlier?
Oh no. Well, shoot. Now I forgot what I wanted to mention. Damn it. Oh well.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. Well, let's see here. We talked about Legend of 5 Rings. Is there anything Gensekai or Star Wars to bring up?
No, I've put over the last week or so, I put Gensekai on the back burner a little bit because it's mostly math stuff with the chart.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I got a lot of work done. We kind of bob back and forth. Honestly, depending on the writing, it may be sooner that I would want to do Gensekai running than L5R, so I don't know. That might be a pushback to it. But for now, it's just like, I don't really want to do, economy math right now. I've got other stuff that's interesting to me. Omega bounces back and forth on project. For Star Wars, I don't know if you guys want to talk about it or not, or you specifically, because the other players aren't here. Or they might be, I don't know. Axe is listening, but they're not here.
Like I said, I don't think we really have much.
I think after both of these parts come out, because like I said before, this bit of the adventure, the scenario I wrote, is very open-ended.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe after both come out, we want to talk about stuff. I think we had some very interesting but also productive times where you guys deliberately split up and pre-planned to do that, and it worked pretty well.
Mm-hmm. Usually the rule is don't split the party, but sometimes you're like, no, we gotta split the party.
Yeah. I would say usually splitting the party is usually done when you actually need to get multiple things done at once. Yeah. Yes. In this case, your guys' plan basically hinged on, okay, so the Jedi are going to go in, and they're going to go in public. Excuse me, sorry, I got a little burpy or hiccupy there. The Jedi are going to go in and publicly distract everybody, and we're going to have our clones sneak around and do clone stuff, and actually solve the problem while we gather info. Because, you guys were kind of debating how you wanted to handle this that didn't endanger anybody. And you've been talking about what you want to do in the upcoming session, which will be tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not happened yet, so that's not in stone. That's why I said, maybe after both sessions are done, we can kind of talk about the whole thing.
Yeah.
I believe we're only one in the hopper, so unless something horrible happens to the What's Up audio, knock on wood, that should mean I will get that one ready to post tomorrow. Let me actually... I already had the studio tab open. I forgot I didn't close it earlier when I was double-checking on Let's Talk. Let's see. Yes, so we did Learn to Fly last. So that's not the latest one that's recorded, but that would be the last one we did, was that one that's recorded. So we'll still be one in the hopper, I think, tomorrow, if I can actually get my stuff posted.
Yeah.
Because sometimes stuff happens.
That'd do. Then, yeah. He hasn't done anything with Porter from Gensekai. I'm still tuning things. I like to think of fun stuff, but nothing set in stone. I say, because we have no idea when we're actually going to do that. Yeah, because I was actually looking at it the other day. We went up to 50-something sessions with our last big Star Wars campaign with Ticket and Mayhem Squad, and we're at 30-something now. So I'm I don't know. So I don't know. Are we going to actually play this campaign more than we did the other one? Is this going to become the new big campaign?
Maybe
or not. Who knows?
We'll see how the couple of things go.
Yep. I say the only thing really Star Wars. Yeah, no. That's nothing important. That's none that we have to talk about on what's up. We'll save that for later. Yeah, I think that's it.
All right. So there's one thing then I want to mention before we wind down completely, because I think it's a good thing to point out. And I assume you know this, but they did like a Mario Direct.
Yeah.
Nintendo did. They announced some things. They're doing a weird battle royale thing that I probably don't care about.
Nope.
They are doing a Switch port of 3D World, Super 3D World, which I'm super interested in, but I don't know any date on. And then they announced Super Mario 3D All-Stars, which is going to be 64, Sunshine, and Galaxy all in one, I assume on one cart for the Switch.
Yep.
And it's going to be apparently a limited run, at least for now.
Right.
I'm going to guess they're probably saying it that way because of just the way things are this year.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people ask me where the Galaxy 2 is.
Well, it happens. But I think that's a pretty good thing for the Switch. I've already got my pre-order in because they said it's going to be limited, so I'm like, fuck it. I've had this problem before with games where I haven't prearranged to buy, so I'm gonna pick it up because I played the DS version of 64, and I own Galaxy, but I've never had a good I've known people who own Sunshine and played a little bit of it, but I've never played it deeply.
Mm-hmm.
So this was just no, this is a really good deal. I want all these games. Much like how I wish they'd do this kind of treatment to some Zelda stuff too.
Oh yeah, no. Lucky's about to say I don't care that much about Mario games. I do have a passing interest in playing it, but it's nothing. But if they were to put Ocarina, Majora's Mask, Wind Waker, and Twilight Princess on,
I would probably expect it would probably be Wind Waker, TP, Skyward Sword, but either way, any of those combos,
well, no, like I said, they did redo Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask for the DS, so I guess they could honestly bundle those. Actually, they probably put fucking all of them on there. Fuck.
I don't know. I don't actually know the storage limits of Switch. They're putting, as far as we know, like I said, they're slapping 64, Sunshine, and Galaxy all in one cart, supposedly. So,
because, as I said, I think someone said somewhere that they're re-releasing Skyward Sword standalone.
Yes, I do believe that. That's what I said earlier when you said, oh, maybe. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. They're doing that, aren't they?
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying, probably Twilight Princess, Wind Waker, and then Ocarina and Majora's Mask. Because they also just did a remake of Link's Awakening. Actually, I should probably get that. I have not actually beat Link's Awakening.
I've heard it's good. I'm just not necessarily extra interested in it with all the other stuff.
Yeah.
I've say this, I'm as much as I have done a lot of formative stuff in Zelda, it's usually with specific games. If they ported A Link Between Worlds to the Switch, I'd try that because that's kind of a sequel / spiritual remake of A Link to the Past, which is a game I really love. I would love to be able to play Wind Waker on the Switch because I know they did the HD for Wii U, but nobody fucking bought it. Isn't there a TP remaster on the Wii U also?
No.
I think so.
No, I remember.
I'm pretty sure they re-released it in HD at least, but I don't know if they added anything to it either. I don't know. I just put it all on the Switch. Put it all on the Switch, please. And I've never actually really played Ocarina or Majora's Mask, so I'm not super tied up to those. I played a lot of fucking Mario. Okay, when I started with the Super Nintendo, we didn't own Zelda. I picked that up later. We had Super Mario World and Super Mario All-Stars.
Oh yes, it was on the Wii U. I just checked it.
So I'm definitely oh shit, no, they're doing some Mario bundle. I'm there. I'm already there, guys. And I'm glad they're gonna. And I think you said Matt earlier. I'm glad they're gonna do 3D World too, because again, it's much like we talked about Sony releasing games from PSP hell. I need Nintendo to release games from Wii U hell. Let them out. I'm sorry, guys. Your console wasn't very well marketed. It was an HG Wii with a tablet. The Switch is better. So I'll probably be playing that as my Switchy Switch Pants game. I gotta be honest, it's coming out the 18th. That's 2 weeks away?
Yes.
Yeah, almost exactly. I don't know if I'll be done with Ghosts of Tsushima by then. Probably, but also I'm taking that game very slow because I love the exploring aspect.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't even know. I don't even know.
See, talking about video games, Lucky's still playing Arteria Ryza. I still love it. Lots of crafting, lots of fun, lots of Leela. I fucking love Leela. I love her so much. I literally cropped out her ultimate attack and posted me like, check out this girl. She's awesome.
Hey, I watched it.
Yeah. She's very extra. And like I said, I did find out that apparently over in JP they're releasing Artillery Rising 2.
Didn't somebody say that they may have done some trademarks so there's probably going to be a localization?
Yeah, there's probably going to be a localization.
I mean, I would have expected there would be, but yeah, that's always a question because there's these Japanese games, especially RPGs, they have a lot of text, they got a lot of words.
Mm. So I'll probably be picking that up at some point. But like I said, I have other games that I need to play before I start thinking about necessarily getting new games. Because I have a backlog of games that I need to get through, and I got to stop buying new stuff. I
think I got a couple of things I need to work on or do some other stuff. Though, I do want to shout out PlayStation's doing yet another sale this month. I don't know how long for.
No.
But I saw Sleeping Dogs Definitive Edition for about $5 on PS4.
Ooh.
And God, do I love Sleeping Dogs, guys.
Sleeping Dogs is real good.
Yeah, and I have the Definitive Edition for PS3, like the game of the year. But as I've said before, my PS3 currently needs like a serious cleaning revamp, or I need to buy a new one. So a PS4 Definitive Edition for $5, that's a thing. Though I gotta be careful, I have already spent a decent amount of money this month on various things. Oh yeah, that's right, I didn't tell my cardboard story. I might do that. So I'm like, do I really need to spend $5? But also I'm like, but it's for Sleeping Dogs though. You love that game.
It's $5.
And it's $5, you know, it's a great price. I am still planning, by the way, on because we will get towards the end of the month, we will get a decent Daddy Google Bucks infusion, because we did a very good amount of ad ref last, and super chats and other stuff. We did a very decent amount of revenue last month. Super cool. Thanks everybody for tuning in and watching ads, donating, doing memberships. It's cool. Super cool. So yeah, I'm not like going broke or nothing. It's just like we already did Patreon money this month, and I've spent a decent chunk of it already. I'm planning on getting more Uno. I'm gonna get some of those Uno DLCs. We'll do at least one stream day for me this month, which will be the Dark Uno game, because I'll buy the Uno Flip DLC, and we'll do Yamino Uno.
Bash you to the Shadow Realm
with my +5. Whoop. That's a Suzuka. I'm going to retweet that. JK Fox does not get enough love. But yeah, so before we wrap up, probably close to wrapping up, because we're at almost 3 hours and stuff. But I should tell my cardboard story.
Yes.
So, it's no secret. I had a big explosion about it earlier. I'm back into Yu-Gi-Oh! After years away, and I am buying physical product because, as I noted several times recently, man, it's way easier to buy a shitload of product as an adult who technically has a job. I am paid regularly to do this. This is not what any of my college professors thought I'd be doing. But here I am. But so it's very easy to acquire things. They're actually quite cheap, you know? Mm-hmm. But that means I've bought a decent amount of product over the past couple of months, and I'm rapidly running out of storage. I used to have a little... actually, it used to be a wine box, but I painted it over, there's no logo on it anymore. It had a clasp. That's where I used to store all my cards. It was very rapidly running out. I already had to buy more binders, more portfolios. And I will probably have to buy more ultimately, too, especially because I do like to keep all my rares and super rares out there, because they have foil and stuff. I want them to look nice. But that's still a separate thing. But I need more storage for all my other shit, because I was rapidly filling up my box. Also, another thing that's really cheap to do, ordering singles. I have added some cards to my collection for very, very cheap prices, $1 or $2 for some stuff.
Mm.
There's a very specific thing that happens when you do those, which is they usually send them to you in a little plastic protector sleeve. Not like a card sleeve, but like a little plastic sheath. So I've got some other tchotchkes and stuff. I've got some mats. I've got some manuals from that one structure deck I bought, stuff like that. I got some old card mats, which have no pendulum markers, no extra monster zones, and still call the extra deck the fusion deck. That's how old they are. Which is actually pretty old. Okay, that was the same through 2 anime seasons at least. But I buy boxes though because I do want the sets. Why would I buy individual boosters and then I only got 7 cards and stop? I get the repeating. I was like, fuck, I need storage. So I looked it up, and people were recommending, because I was talking about it, recommending these little cardboard fold-out boxes. I was like, that's cool. Yeah, sure, they got like an 800 capacity, but I'm real anal retentive. I'm not going to want to mix my cards And also, I'm pretty sure if I combine them all together, I'm going to need more than one box. I'm going to buy a lot of boxes. So I may have shelled out about $60 for a card house, which has, let me actually count. It's under my bed currently. Great storage. Cleaned it out. Yeah, it's 3x4, so there's 12 of these 800 count boxes. The 800 count is also probably an estimation. Mm-hmm. So I got a lot of boxes, and I got different boxes for different things. Like I got my spell cards in one box, I got my effect monsters in one box, because God, those, especially these days in Yu-Gi-Oh, effect monsters are probably the most common thing in the game. So there's a lot of them. So I bought this, and I'm probably not going to spend any money on major storage for months, if not years. Like this is a pretty decent thing to like actually store all my shit in for a while, which was the plan. That's why I splurged and spent like $60 on cardboard boxes. Mm-hmm. Normally Omega would turn to Omega and be like, dude, you're fucking crazy. And I'd be like, I know me. But this time I was like, no, I know I need storage. I'm rapidly using up what space I have dedicated to this. I want to actually have some collection. So I ordered a box that came inside another box. It was flat. So it wasn't assembled, and I kind of assumed that might happen, but I hoped it wouldn't. That's one of those things, right? You always hope for the best, but you expect the worst a little bit. Mm-hmm. So I open up this box, and inside this box is a bag. I had to open the bag too. I mean, it's only corrugated cardboard, so shout out to them for shielding it. But man, this was a little bit of a fucker to open. Open it up, pour all the sheets out. Hey, so it came with a lot of cardboard and no instructions.
Oof.
No directions on the cardboard. And I immediately went to Amazon and did note, and some Amazon customer reviews were definitely more on my side of it being very annoyed. Some people also got theirs beat up. Mine wasn't really beat up, but also it's corrugated cardboard, so what do you expect? But I did happen to look in a review, and one person was like, oh, it was easy, I just looked it up on YouTube, and I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna have to look it up on YouTube. Well, it turns out that the company that makes these, I believe it's BCS, they have a YouTube channel, which I'm guessing is their official instructions outlet, because that's where I found the instructions to make the box. But, so I spent $60 on cardboard that wasn't assembled and didn't have instructions. I had to go to no link to their YouTube channel, by the way, anywhere in the message. I had to discover that on my own. It wasn't hard, but it was still, like, needed me to take that step. I spent $60 and then had to go to their YouTube channel, and probably, I don't know if I gave them ad rev or not, but I gave them a view at least to actually assemble this fucking box. But it is assembled, it fits under my bed, it's got all the storage I need. So it's a decent product, but this is definitely one of those, like, hey, double check everything you buy on Amazon, kids. Nice. And if you don't want something that's going to take you, well, the video is only like 5 minutes, but I had to pause to do all the bits and make it work, so I don't know, it was probably at least a 30-minute sitting on my floor surrounded by cardboard. Which is very dry work. A little scratchy. Rough on the fingertips. Oh, and there was another point, though, when I folded up the back of the big actual card house box that all the things slot into. You know, you make the little shelves out of cardboard. Where the guy was like, you just need to tuck in the flap. You can apply it with packing tape, but you don't have to. I'm like, I'm getting packing tape, chief. I gave it some clear tape just to give it that extra stick at the back. But yeah, so Omega spent a little bit of an afternoon, because there was definitely some pre-assembly time where Omega was like, okay, how the fuck do I assemble this? Because it's definitely without like instructions or even pictures, right? You want to actually like look at everything and see it all and be like even cardboard unfolded can look like fucking wizardry. You're like, where does this go? What am I doing?
Black magic!
So yeah, I started looking at pictures on Amazon to like get a guide, and luckily, like I said, while I was looking for help, somebody just said that they looked it up on YouTube, and I was like, oh yeah, if this is a problem, I'm sure somebody has done a video about it, but it turns out the people who made it did. But yeah, no, it was a whole thing. I think I used to do TCG Player at Toy Wiz back in the day for singles. There were a couple times I bought singles. It was a whole ordeal as a child. Now it's just like, as an adult, it's like, yeah, I'll spend $2 and 15 in shipping or whatever, get something, tuck it into my collection. But yeah, so there's my cardboard box story. I think that bookends the comedy of errors, actually, because we started with my comedy of errors on the video, and we ended with me struggling to assemble a fucking cardboard box. Which, I mean, I say struggle. There was a lot of no, there was it's me. There was a decent amount of cussing and screaming. But that's because I opened a box to find my box unassembled and no instruction. I'm just like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with this? Like, I know my mother joked to me bringing in the box saying, "You're college educated, you'll figure it out." I'm like, I mean, I will. That doesn't mean I'm not a little annoyed. How expensive would it be to, like... It was literally a 5-minute video. I don't know how expensive it would have been to just print some instructions on, like, a double sheet of paper and slide it in there, but I don't know. But yeah, so that's probably the show.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have anything else you want to hit up on, Lucky, or are we going to get on out of here? We've been going for 3 hours. That's pretty good.
No, that's pretty good. I think we can get on out of here.
All right. I once again need to go get some food.
Oh, yeah, this event's going on to the 16th. I got plenty of fucking time.
Which event?
The Hunter of the Fjord one. It says event duration 9/3 to 9/16.
Now, does it actually mean that, or does it mean that you can only exchange during the times?
Well, hang on.
Let me before.
Actually, let me double check. If I look at the event thing, because I'm pretty. Oh wait, no, I actually have to pull up that button. Let's see here.
Does it actually say?
Yeah, no, everything says 9/3 to 9/16.
That's not bad. That probably means that the couple of days I skipped won't hurt me.
Yeah.
I have been punching event maps this entire time, by the way, audience. I'm not afraid of doing a little work. Especially with emulators, I found it very easy to do while we do the show. But yeah, okay.
Like they're being a little weird because like the Scares of Iron Blood rerun is done, but they still have to think of it. It says it runs from 8/20 to 9/2, but it's like then like the Banquet of Iron Blood thing running from 8/20 to 9/9. So I'm guessing like the store and the thing will keep running for like
the exchange. And they've done that before. They actually bamboozled some people where they didn't communicate that clearly with some events.
Yeah.
But no, if both the points ladder and the other thing says it's going until 16, it's probably going until 16.
Yep.
All right, cool beans. But it's time for us to wrap up the show. Hope you enjoyed all that stuff. Be sure to check out next week's What's Up if you did, and more. And also check us out on Let's Talk FGO, which you probably do already, but if you don't, check it out. And keep an eye out for other stuff, actual plays, streams, whatevers.
Mm-hmm.
If you did actually enjoy any of that Yu-Gi-Oh talk, I've done some videos and stuff you should check out on the channel, unboxings and whatnot. Just, trying out different content, doing things, doing stuff. I'm great. Lucky's great too. We're both great.
Yay! I'm great.
And if you're watching this video on YouTube and you like it, be sure to give it a like. If you have any comments, you can leave in the comment section down below. You can also hit us up on our Discord. That link is in the description and on our channel page as always. And if you're new here and haven't already, please subscribe to the channel so you can always get our latest videos and streams. Also consider hitting that bell for notifications so you always know when we post a video or a stream. Definitely, I feel like YouTube has done something to the back end that is, I've said this before, is really confusing Mr. Meeseeks, our Discord bot. He's getting real bad at reporting streams, and I'm not entirely sure it's his fault. But I'll go ahead and just if you hit the notifications, set them to all, you'll probably get a notification.
We try to spread out the announcements on streams and whatnot.
Yes, you can also follow us on Twitter. We have a tweeter if you're into that. You can find that link down there below too. You can also join our channel, hitting that button or that link in the description. You can join our memberships. You get access to emotes, membership badges, cool stuff. It's cool. It's great. And of course, like I said at the front of the show, you can consider supporting us on Patreon. You can get this episode in audio format early, downloadable for as little as $1 a month, or about $10 a year, because I do annual memberships now. And that also is a great way to directly support us and get extra cool stuff. All right, that is What's Up with Omega and Lucky for the week of, I guess, whenever we did the last episode, the 29th to the 5th. Boom. This is why we don't do dates. We're bad with numbers.
Numbers! Math bomb.